And welcome to once again the strongest Warhammeriest podcast out there. It's the Strength Hammer Podcast, episode 122, with my dear friend Fitzhammer. I
Yay!
like how the
Woo!
so obviously if you're listening on audio, Alex sometimes records in a coffee shop. So I like how the people around you got louder as soon as I made that cheer happen.
Yeah,
It's like they know.
yeah. They know.
They know
They
they're
know.
on the best podcast.
They all want to be
Oh,
part of it.
lighting's a little off there. Can't get the oh well. Well, Alex, how you doing today?
I'm great. Great. Had a not the best sleep last night, so I'm at a double dose of caffeine already.
Oh,
But that's what the caffeine is there for, right?
that's true.
Just for
That's true.
today. We're back to normal tomorrow. But that's when it's time to abuse caffeine. We didn't get the best sleep.
That's fine. I'm in a similar boat. It was
Oh
club
yeah.
club night last night, um, which actually I guess a little cut update early. Doing
Oh
much
yeah.
better, slimming down on the treats, and that's starting to include like the alcohol too. So um, I want to say I would love to limit my drinks as my treat to just that bar night, but
Sure.
we'll get there eventually. But it's like a slow wean because if I'm just like only that night, then I'll accidentally drink too much and feel awful.
I see what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
I'm kind of ease into it.
yeah, because like I'm like my brain's better at saying like yeah, no more than two drinks if you're gonna have a drink. Like I don't have a
Sure.
drink every day, but if I decide to have a drink, no more than two always.
I really
So
like that rule. Yeah,
yeah,
because I mean,
it's
you probably have a drink what twice a week
eh,
on average.
twice, three. I mean, it's weird. We're coming off the holidays, so it feels like it was like every day because like time didn't matter.
Sure,
But
sure, sure.
yeah, I'd say probably closer to three times a week. I'd probably have a drink.
That's fair.
Um, yeah, but trying to slim that down, and that felt good. But like, yeah, the lack of sleep's hitting me because it was like 12:30, and we all realized because we were having fun, we were learning a new game, Saga. Like, it was just a good time with the boys. So
Yeah, the sleep can really get away from you very quick.
yeah, yeah. But hey, I've had last two nights have been phenomenal. So we'll just get back in that rhythm.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. One night of poor sleep is like a one night of going out to eat and getting like pasta. It's not the end of the world,
Oh yeah, yeah, that's
right?
fine.
So just don't let that one night of poor sleep turn into two, three, four, a whole
I
week, and then
I can't. I can't. Like literally,
yeah,
my I've reached the age or that point, I guess, where pumpkin time hits. Usually around 11:30, 11:45. I'm like, I
sure,
gotta go to bed, guys. Like it's gonna be
sure.
rough. I'm gonna be helping for some of the later games for LVO. I'm one of the moderators on the Twitch stream for Warhammer since I do
Oh,
other
cool.
stuff with them. But the problem is, I think one of the games is gonna go to like 1 a.m. and I'm gonna be like, oh, everyone be nice. I'm so sleepy.
Oh, that's funny.
Speaking of which, actually, it's gonna be weird. Like the release of this, everybody listening to this now, it'll be on some point because tonight's the reveal show for LVO.
Oh, okay.
But I think it starts at midnight.
Are you gonna do it?
I'm not gonna do a live.
Okay,
I don't think my setup is good enough for live yet. But
sure.
I'll probably do like a recap episode either tomorrow morning. So it'll either be after this is released or before if I get it out tonight. We'll see.
Fair enough.
Sorry, we're rambling a lot. I have to ask the
Okay.
most important question for you, Alex. The one everybody's asking.
Yeah,
How is your lawn?
everybody's asking.
Hmm.
Well, since everybody's asking, we need to let the audience know. Still covered in snow. Still covered in snow. I don't think it's much more snow than last time we talked, but it is
Well,
covered in snow.
you do know we're gonna get like 48 inches in the next day or so, right?
There's a sex joke there somewhere, but
My brain didn't even go there. I was gonna make the joke like, "There's your cardio for the day." It's like, oh
uh,
yeah,
uh, I did not know. No, 4 to 8 inches. Wow.
yeah, we're under some winter thing. Up
I
anyway.
think the gym for me is like 4 minutes, 3 minutes away. It's gonna be 5 minutes because driving in snow.
Like I said, sometimes I look outside. I'm like, "Yep, it's a home gym day."
Man, but you live so close. You should just like walk in the beautiful weather.
Sometimes I do. It depends. Like if it's like cold and blustery, the problem I have is I have one pair of pants for the gym,
Fair,
and they're
fair.
thin. So like I put
Right.
up like I'll do it, but it's just like it's cold. The pants are dirty.
Just put jeans over them. Just take them off at the gym.
That's a lot of work, man. I don't know. It's easier to just go to my basement and just start.
I like how you would lift for an hour hard. Putting on a pair of jeans is
It's
too
too
much
much.
work.
I'll have to take them off and then put them back on.
Sure,
It's a
sure.
whole
I can
thing.
relate to that. That's actually very funny. Sometimes when I'm comfortable at home, I'm like, I want to go to the gym for 2 hours, but I don't want to drive 3 minutes.
Oh
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
struggle.
No, isn't that that's the gym rat life, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
How's your lawn doing?
oh, my lawn also covered in snow, but I'm keeping up with the shoveling on it. Mostly because work has been ramping up.
Sure,
My real job, the one
sure.
not my made up GW job where I do it every once in a while, which is still fun and still technically a job. But yeah, so I need to take mental breaks, and actually shoveling is a good mental break.
Good.
It's
Yeah.
not too hard. The one this is actually a weird side note because like I made the joke about there's your cardio for the day. So the wife and I have been going to the gym together during this
Hmm.
cut. She's not cutting, but we're doing workouts together because I'm not going to overstress, strength gains during a cut. So I'm
No,
like,
you should not.
right.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, okay, moving, lifting weights. Like I'm still lifting heavy on the machines, but I'm not doing I'm not doing barbell
Like
movements right now.
heavy compound lifts. Yeah,
Yeah.
me neither. Yeah.
Well, if I'm doing in the home gym for like I'm staying at home, it's I was like I was barbells, so
You kind of forced to. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But like we're doing workouts together, so at least twice a week, and then we're doing cardio. And that said, just like, doing a couple weeks of cardio now, like I'm shoveling, and like it's a lot of snow, and like the same amount. I'm like not even winded. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, cardio works. I guess it does a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's cardio is so interesting because you adapt to cardio so much quicker than resistance training, right? Like, I mean, I've not been doing running or any like rowing, but I've been doing just fast walking.
Hmm.
And I've been just slowly elevating the steepness and the intensity, right? The speed of the treadmill.
Yeah,
And boy, like if I did what I did now compared to like a month ago, I'd be really out of breath.
yeah.
But now I can do it for an hour with no problem, right?
I have to call this out. My wife's a beast.
Really?
Well, she'll do the treadmill, and I just kind of match her speed and everything, and like she'll run, I'll run. Sometimes like we do our own thing, but I just try to match her speed. Um, and we were going it, and I was just like, all right, we're doing good, feeling good. And I look over and I forgot she was on max elevation. She does every treadmill
That's
thing on max
crazy.
elevation. I'm like, oh my god,
That's
okay,
crazy.
here we go. And like,
Just strong calves. Just
yeah, oh my god, like it's everything. Like her walking, her running is all max
yeah.
elevation. I'm just like, cool.
That's awesome.
It's making me be better. That's for sure.
It's one of those things where like she's a beast or you're just weak.
I'm weak.
Okay,
And
yeah.
she's a beast.
And she's a beast.
It's
Okay,
yeah,
both. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Let's
It's when I go to the gym, my weak point is often my back. So I'll bring a random friend to the gym who like occasionally works out, and their back is almost as strong as mine. I'm like, wow, your back is really strong. And then I think, or is my back weak? No, no, no. Your back is strong. Your back is strong.
why not both?
Why
um,
not both?
that's good. That's good. Yeah. So lawns are doing good. Snow's coming down. It's pretty. Um, yeah. Other than that, though.
Oh wait, let me show you my
We got.
shirt.
Oh yeah, we got.
I forgot I was wearing this today.
Vulcan lives available at fithammer.com.
Nope, not available.
Not available. Sorry,
Just for me.
just for
it is
Alex.
it is my friend's design.
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
I'm not selling it yet. I'm just other projects working on right now.
Well, hey, if you want some fun merch, go over to the links below for the Strength Hammer merch.
You should. Yeah, Strength
There's
merch is hilarious too.
yeah, there's a
Some
lot
of
of
your merch is awesome.
lot of fun stuff. There's also like actually I need to buy. I made it, but like I made like a Stormcast gym one, a 40K gym one.
Oh,
Like they're
I
kind of
don't know if
like
I've seen that.
they're very subtle nerdy. Um,
Okay,
but yeah, I should probably promote those because like that's probably my favorite one. Not the one I have one with my logo on it. But I'm like, it's fine. It's my
I
logo.
know my favorite one from yours.
Oh, double turn me, daddy.
Yes, Double
Yep.
Turn Me Daddy.
Courtesy of Big M's podcast. Stole that
It
one
was
from him.
awesome
Yep.
because I would go to like tournaments that would have Double Turn Me Daddy shirts,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd be like, "Oh, is that from Chuck?" And they're like, "Who's Chuck?"
I
They're wearing your merch.
legitimately, it was a Kansas City U.S. Open. There was a guy. He was playing Snesh, so he had a pink one. Double turn me, daddy.
Uh-huh.
And I just walked over. I was just like, "Oh, cool, man. How you doing?" Like, good, good, good. Like, just chatting back and forth. I'm like, "That's an awesome shirt." He's like, "Thanks." And then that was like the end. I was like, "Okay, yeah, good luck with your game." And I walked away, and I was dying of laughter.
That's
And I
hilarious.
talked to one of the full time gentlemen that it is his real job and does an amazing job with the U.S. Opens, and just or just events period, named Ryan, and I told him, he was just cracking up laughing. So he went over a little while later just to confirm. He had no idea what strength hammer was. He's like, I just saw the shirt, I thought it was neat. I don't know what this is. It's like, it's amazing.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. I
Oh
love that because yeah, it's so interesting because it's not really strength like
no,
related,
I just have
right?
like
It's
my
not
logo on the
really,
back. It's
but
yeah.
it's great. I love that. That's
And
hilarious.
there is a double turn me mommy as requested.
Sure,
So
sure.
so.
As it has to be for both options. Yeah.
But anyway, enough merch talk. Um, well, you know what? It's we had an FAQ recently, and that's gonna be the topic for the main show. FAQ of the old world just dropped, so Neil and I are gonna go through that. So Alex and I thought it would be a good time to FAQ ourselves. Well, FAQ how we do our fitness, I guess, or how you do your fitness.
Sure.
So
Yes.
yeah, yeah, go ahead,
Elaborate.
elaborate. Yes, expound. So one thing that you need to do, especially early on, but you need to do it kind of throughout your whole thing, is record your sets sometimes. I mean,
Sure.
not for you don't have to record every set to post on social media. It's not for that.
What you don't?
Well, you do. You're getting paid through that stuff. Um, but uh, so recording your sets are very very valuable because you can look and see, oh, where am I struggling? Where's my form go off? And other things like that. So we're going to talk about just generally like, so Alex, when you go to record your set, obviously we're doing it in a gym. If you're not allowed to record in that gym, don't record in that gym. If you're recording, there's other people
Sure. Yeah.
around, like either make sure they're not in frame or just say, hey, I'm going to record my set for critiquing. Do you guys mind? And most people are going to be like, that's fine, whatever.
Right. Right.
But yeah, so Alex, how do you do this? What's your plan of attack when you're recording a set?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So I think yeah, we covered a lot of aspects of it already. I mean, the reason for recording your sets is to critique it, to get better form, right?
Right.
Which good form when it comes to resistance training should be the first thing you do,
Yeah, prevent
right? It should be
injury, help build the strength properly so you can lift more.
right. Target the proper muscles. Yes. I mean, if you're not doing sets correctly or with good form, you are at best probably limiting your gains a little bit. Right now, you probably shouldn't aim for 100% perfect form all the time, because it's debatable what perfect form is.
Right. Yeah. It's
Um,
it's perfect form for you. Like I said, if you look at Alex's squat versus my squat, because
sure,
we our ancestry is from slightly different parts of the world, your squat's so much deeper than mine.
sure,
It's just how it
yes.
is.
So perfect form for you, there is good form and bad form, but perfect form will look different, right? But that's the main reason you do it. Now you covered the etiquette. I think you're 100% right. Just follow what the gym rules are. If it's an influencer gym, which we don't have any in the area, you're fine to record whenever. But most likely you don't go to an influencer gym. So just ask permission or make sure it's in a place where there's nobody in the background.
Right.
Um, but yeah, my process that I go through is I will usually, if I'm trying a new movement, right, which there's always new movements to try. If I'm learning a new movement, first uh, I will establish what muscles am I targeting,
Okay. So
right?
let's say we're doing
So if
squat.
I'm
Let's just work with
so
squat.
doing squat, okay, so we're doing some kind of a squat variation,
Yep.
right? So let's say we're doing goblet squat, right?
Sure.
Maybe I haven't done goblet squat for a while. Maybe I've never done it before. So I'm doing a goblet squat where you put the dumbbell right here, and then you do a deep squat with a dumbbell. Uh, so I first thing to think about is what muscles are you targeting, right? So you're targeting your quads and your glutes primarily when you're doing a squat, right? So we'll think about the muscles you're targeting. So you probably shouldn't be bending over like this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just bending forward with the low back. Um, then you look up a movement. I just look it up online with the sources that I trust, right? So for me, it's very often Jeff Nippard, Mike Israetel, which is Dr. Mike's channel, Renaissance periodization. If you're doing lower body, Squat University has great videos
Yeah.
as well.
He's been doing
Right.
a lot more non-squat specific too, so definitely follow
Sure.
Squat University.
Right. So there's so many resources online. Just finds the ones that are trusted and reliable.
Yes.
Uh, Look up form. Do it yourself. If anything feels odd or off, uh, look up form again.
Yeah, and
Right.
if you're trying to develop that baseline, don't go heavy. Like
Absolutely
do
not.
it on your warm up sets. Be like, okay, that's what my warm ups look like, and that feels good. So that way, when you
Right.
record your heavy sets, okay, this is where it's breaking down. And like
Right.
things are gonna, like, as you get heavier, like, okay, we're we're deadlifting. Okay, the back is going to round a little bit more the heavier you get. It's just natural, and flexation's not the worst ideal. Like but you don't want to be a scared cat lifting it. So like, don't be alarmed if something changes whenever you do get a little bit heavier. There's going to be some normal changes.
Sure, sure. As long as they're safe, right? As long as they're safe.
Yes, as long as it's safe and
Um,
doesn't feel off. Like I said, I think you usually said if something feels off, figure out why it feels off.
take the weight, take go lighter, right? I've had so many times, and it happens pretty consistently because I think it's a normal thing to do. I also think it's a very guy thing to do, where you start going heavier, form starts breaking down, but your ego doesn't allow you to go
Oh
lighter,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Got an ego lift.
right?
Yeah.
So, well,
No
don't
kidding.
don't hurt yourself,
Don't ego lift.
right?
Don't ego
We're
lift.
joking, we're joking. Um, so yeah, that's where recording comes in, where it could be helpful, right? I can't tell you how many times I would be doing a movement, I'd be like, I feel great, I feel good. I record myself and be like, oh wow, I'm way off on this part,
Yep.
right? Or I'm not going as deep as I should, even though I can because I'm maybe lifting heavier than I should, right? Or maybe my tempo is off, right? So maybe I'm going way too fast. I'm not controlling the weight on the negative, which there's valuables there or valuable benefits there. So yeah, that's where recording really comes in clutch. Is just assessing yourself from almost like a third point of view.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's also the added benefit too, as you record it. Maybe you have a coach that you're training with. You can send it to them. They can critique it because they're going
Yes.
to be very educated on that. Um, and then even the best thing too is like if you get that gym brother or sister to go with you to the gym that knows a
Yes.
movement you don't, have them teach it to you because they can critique it as they go and like they can see stuff. Like Alex, you've taught me many of variations, and look,
Yeah. Same with you.
it's just how it works. And I'm just like, oh, I know how to do JM press. So
Yep, I
let's
still
work
never
through it.
do
I know, yeah.
it. It's a great movement. I've never quite figured out. So I have other movements I like.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Or front squats. I freaking hate front
I
squats.
love front squats,
Yeah,
but
or
yeah,
zombie squats. Just
well,
garbage.
to be fair, zombie squats is like the only way I do front squats anymore because I've kind of lost that
True.
mobility after not doing
Uh,
CrossFit for so long because I haven't had to
sure,
be forced to do that. So it's like
sure.
almost always zombie
No,
now.
no, no, Chuck. It's just you built so much muscle, you literally can't do it. That's why.
You're right. I'm just so jacked. It's not my lack of training and flexibility. But yeah, but
Um,
I just realized too we're a little bit off on this. I always do that. I always get us like slightly off on the camera. So let me get that fixed there. There we go.
oh, you're good. Just make sure you really zoom in my face because that's what
Well, actually,
everybody's here
because
for.
people could see the little emojis at the bottom. So here, let me do a little heart. There's a heart for you, Alex.
That's
All right,
cute.
there we go.
I don't know how to do that.
It's fine. It's not a big deal.
It's okay.
But yeah, but critiquing, perfect. Yay, let's go. Critiquing your movement is the best way to FAQ your form. I think is what we're saying here.
Yeah, and sometimes you might just have a mirror, right? Like if you're doing any of the front stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like bicep curls, or even if it's a movement that you can safely look to the side, like tricep pull downs.
Yeah,
But if you're deadlifting, probably don't look to the side. If you're
yeah. If you're
squatting, probably
squatting,
don't look to the
well,
side.
most squat racks have a mirror in front, so you can at least check it that way. That
Right.
said, the heavier I've gone with squats, the more I just don't know what's going on other than down and up.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, and I guess one thing we should say is obviously we said don't go heavy. I would say it's valuable when you're learning a movement and you're trying to critique form and get it right, is to go relatively high rep, right? I'm not talking like 20 plus reps, but I'm definitely going like probably 10, about 10 reps or
Right,
sometimes more depending
right.
on the movement, just because you're not trying to go heavy when you're learning it, right?
Right. Well, it's
And
the
then,
thing too. Even we're talking mostly like barbell movements with this, but it's also valuable in machines too because, like I said, my wife and I were
yeah,
doing a lot of machine work together. So I'm showing her and teaching her the movements. I'm there to essentially critique her and be like, okay, so we're doing a lat pull down. It's like, okay, she's coming a little too far in front. I'm like, okay, you want to come here, proud chest, like all this sort of like, I'm trying to like find out those cues again to, it's like they're buried deep inside, but that way she can build the muscle appropriately that she wants to build. Like
yeah,
some things are easier, like okay, quad extension, it's pretty
yep.
basic. Yeah, can't really. Well, you could screw that one up, but and most
You
people
could.
don't.
You could, and I think that's the tempting thing with machines is I wouldn't say it's more important with machines than barbell movements, but it's still important because you can be tempted to be like, well, I'm a machine, I just get locked in, doesn't matter what I do as long as I get the weight up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Where the reality is, yeah, you could even a preacher curl machine you could do wrong if you do
Oh
if
yeah,
you
yeah.
you know overextend or underextend or lean in the wrong way. So there's things you could mess up with almost any machine.
Right. And just like any new game system that comes out that's or that even one that's been around, as you're learning those new movements, as that, that's when you definitely want to really critique yourself. That's when you want to
You're
record.
such a nerd.
I know.
You are such a nerd.
Gotta
No,
get
I
it
love
in.
that.
Gotta get it in. But yeah. Is there anything that we missed on that little it's a little topic, but it's a good one.
No, I think we covered most of it. I mean, and bottom line, like unless you're training with good form, not perfect but good form, you have no room to train close to failure or even progressive overload until you figure that part out.
Right. And even then, I guess last note from me on that. I know how to deadlift. I know how to do my form. Doesn't mean I still don't screw up on occasion and
Oh,
tweak
sure,
something. So
sure,
it is still easy as someone who I don't know if I call myself advanced, but experienced lifter at this point.
sure.
Um, it's still easy. Like you're having a bad day, your head's not in the right place, to just fall out of your form, and the heavier you're doing, the easier it is to cause injuries. But like gotta lock in.
Yeah, revisiting form, and also like as hard as it is, and I do it all the time, but don't let your ego win, right? Because
Yeah.
all that's going to happen is you're going to have the two options are you're going to either your ego is going to be boosted a little bit, or you're going to hurt yourself and be out of the gym for the next week or 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
I've done it many times,
That's
so
it. There's times for your ego to kick in. It's usually whenever like
sure,
you're lifting heavy and you're with the
sure,
bros and everything's going good.
yes, yes,
Sometimes you let the
yes,
ego out a little bit because that's the session. But
sure,
that's a
sure,
future topic, I guess, of
right. Oh, maybe that's a good
when
one.
to have that like more ego-ish session
Okay,
because
I like it.
it's a weird one. Yeah. That anyway. Um. Well, boom. There we go. Fitness done. Uh, for now. But go to the gym, everybody. Make sure you're doing that. Or at least moving. But before we talk hobby for your hobby, we had a bit of a
Oh yeah.
news drop today.
Hmm.
So we're going to bring it up here because it's pertinent to me, so I like talking about it. So
Sure.
they dropped announcing the 2025 U.S. Open Series and the next World Championships of Warhammer.
Very good.
So little article here. We won't read it verbatim, but they're just showing some pictures from last year. I mean, the grand narrative in the World Championships of Warhammer was massive this year. It was so fun. Um, so there's going to be only two this year, it looks like,
Okay.
and then the grand finale. So three in total, which is a drop. Um, which I don't know what that means. Even though
Hmm.
I work on that team technically, I'm not privy to that information. Like I said, I get told what to do.
Was one of the events smaller, the one they dropped?
No, because like there's still other like we've been all over. Usually Tacoma. So the two that are listed here, Dallas, Texas, always a great place. Texas is very easy to fly
Sure,
to, so
sure.
it's always a good choice for events like that. So yeah, Dallas, Texas, good choice. I'm not sure if they're gonna do it. They last year they did it in like this big esports arena.
Okay,
I put in to go for it and they didn't need me. Well, they didn't need me there. I
sure,
watched this. I think I did the stream moderation, which
sure.
was kind of sad because I like going to Dallas. I go there fairly regularly for my real job. So, uh, but anyway, Dallas, Texas, always a good choice. I don't know what the venue. I don't know if they've announced venues yet, but we'll see.
Hmm.
And then Tacoma, Washington, which is, to be fair, that is one of the best ones every single year because
Ah, okay.
Tacoma's a great place. That venue, just in general, like I don't know the back end deals and all that stuff with finances, but that venue is always really good to us.
Hmm.
They're very kind to us. They're very open and welcoming to us, um, and we get a lot of the British Columbia folks down for Warhammer. So that's always
Sure,
that's usually
sure,
actually
sure.
that's a big Sigmar one too. So it's really good to see.
Oh, hmm.
So to be fair, Tacoma is probably almost always our biggest, I think. And Dallas is it's a good spot. It's always a big one too. And then
Sure.
the Atlanta for the finale, as which makes sense because it's so easy to get to internationally.
And then Atlanta.
Atlanta's not exciting, but
Yeah,
it's the
Tacoma
easiest to
is
get
the
to.
best. Dallas is awesome. And then there's Atlanta.
Well, I'll say Atlanta's not an exciting city. I'm sorry, but it is the easiest place for international flights all around the world
Sure,
in
sure.
America.
We just lost the two Atlanteans
Yep,
who were listening to this podcast.
we did. That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine. No, you're good.
Uh,
If you listen, if you live in Atlanta and there's cool things to do down there, make sure you post it so I can spread the word too. Because while I'm busy there working, it I do like exploring cities, but Atlanta's not my favorite. All right, so Dallas is in May, July for Tacoma, and then November for Atlanta. So there we go. I was hoping we'd see a Northeast one at some
Yeah.
point, but the crew up there they go to PAX. Also, let's be honest, Northeast event venues are way too expensive.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
like there
Is
would
that what
be
it is?
like just from my knowledge, not from this team, but just in general,
Sure.
they're just typically more expensive because they're like if you look at the country, like how many bigger cities are up in the Northeast.
Sure.
So
That's fair.
plus also like which one's easiest to fly to.
Right. Right. Which is a shame because I would have loved to have one in our area.
Oh, yeah,
But
I would too. But okay, so it's a little bit of a lighter year. So I'm not sure what that means. Let's see if it says anything in here about what that means. If there's other things coming, or if it's just a lighter year, or there's I don't know. Um, core dates. Each have 40k, Sigmar, Kill Team, Warhammer Underworlds, and other game systems represented selected events. Like I know in the Tacoma we usually do a 40k grand narrative. I don't
okay.
know if they're doing Old World yet. We haven't figured they
Oh
because
yeah. Has there been an old world event by officially like run by GW?
by GW, yes, over at Warhammer World by
Ah,
our
okay.
good friend Steve. He runs it over there. We haven't done it at the U.S. Open probably because it's a bit of an unknown. Like we'd be pulling terrain right now from Sigmar.
Sure. Do
Um,
they do Horus Heresy?
they have done a few Horus Heresy events, but like they've been very small.
Sure,
So
sure.
like and like you're trying to fill as much space as possible with tickets.
Right,
So it's
right.
it's a bit of an unknown. So like maybe one day they'll get it, but
Okay.
it's not a
Hmm.
big deal. Every event will host our traveling Warhammer event store, which is the best store in the world, outside of Warhammer World. Because we have Forge World, yeah, the faction objective mats. Those are pretty cool. Actually, I should
Really?
have them within a couple weeks. My friend went to PAX, picked them up. But daughter, they have Sigmar ones now, not just the 40k objective
Okay.
markers, the Sigmar ones. So I got a
Okay.
Daughters of Cain one.
Huh.
Um, tickets on sale March 1st. They do sell quickly, so yeah, that's a very good thing there. Um, Okay, the US Opens include increased array of activities. Okay, so we're expanding maybe what we're doing at these and having less of them. That would make sense.
Okay.
But we do
That's fair.
usually do painting, but like if there's more painting, more hobby stuff, that's a good way to do it too.
Hmm.
And then the championships, talking about it, yeah, that was huge. You can apply now if you're having an event to try and get golden tickets. And yeah, World Championships will have the grand narrative as well, which I love. So, boom, perfect.
Sure.
All right,
Um,
yeah.
2 minutes ago they released Warhammer events. Set aside some tournaments in April.
They're
The reason
probably
I just saw like there was a Old World Grand Tournament,
oh
but I'm
that
guessing
might
it's at Warhammer World.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably Warhammer World. Yeah, yeah, they run it out there. It's actually surprising. Like Nottingham's just a good place for Old World, it seems. So, um,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah,
Right. Dang.
but yeah. But anyway, there's some breaking news for you. So as we do that, let's wrap up. Alex, how's your hobby going?
Oh, it's there. Not as exciting as last week
Okay.
or last time we
Yeah, didn't
recorded.
paint a whole army.
Didn't paint a whole army in 4 days. Technically half an army. But yeah, I've actually been working on the Old World, not Old World, Middle Earth
No, Lord. Okay.
strategy battle game, Mezbg, and I put together 500 points of Moria.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. I still need to base them and paint and prime them, but I just found some random goblins, and the crew we're gonna play with is doesn't
Yeah, it doesn't
doesn't
care. Yeah.
care about Lord of the Ring models. So the scale is the same, and they're just like goblins with bows, goblins with spears, goblins with shields, and I have some of the other Moria goblins. So I'm like, hey, I have them. Could as well put them. So I cleaned the mold lines, assembled everything, found a random troll too model.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, yeah, which is great. So I
Yeah.
put together my list because their options are much more limited. It seems to be from
It's
what
a
they
little
released
different.
so
Yeah, a
far.
little different.
So my list is like 40 goblins, 4 chieftains, and 2 trolls.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah. No, I
I'm
mean,
excited for
yeah,
it.
I don't care about the models because my full Rivendell army can kill your goblins just the same either way.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, I'm excited to just like goblins to die and for the good guys to win when
Yeah,
I
I mean,
play
it's
the
Lord of
game.
the Rings. That's what we want deep down inside.
That's right.
That's great. I won't talk about all my hobby here. I'll save some of the actual hobby there, but just a few keynotes because Alex, you're a Warhammer book lover too.
Yes.
So I don't think I mentioned it a while ago, but I picked up the Malice Darkblade series for cheap
Mhm.
off Amazon. So I had everything but the End Times book. And that End Times book, there was like those chronicles. So there's 3 End Times books.
Sure.
One that had the first 2 books, one that had an elf book, and the Malice Darkblade End Times book, and then a third one,
Mhm.
which is the conclusion. It's the narrative books,
Sure.
not the game supplements. I have all the game supplements.
Ah, I see. I see. I
Yeah,
see. Okay.
they're full novels, like thick boys. I found the elf one's always the most expensive.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
the cane one. Let me see what's it called here. I took pictures, but I'm not gonna bring them up because I forgot to load them up before we did this.
Was there a
Doom of
thankful
the
one, or
Elves.
was that just
There's a thankful one.
expand?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And there's also short stories. So Doom of the Elves is the elf one.
Hmm.
And I was like, you know what? That was actually really cheap because it was like on sale. Let me look for the other 2 once I figured out which ones they were.
Sure.
I bought them super cheap, found them. They're on their
Wow.
way. So yeah, I'm gonna have
Hmm.
so much end time stuff. It's gonna be great. Um,
Yeah, those are big books.
they are. They are. Like I
They
said,
really, they don't, I mean, I guess that's what happens when you like kill the whole, like, not kill, finish the story
yep,
of the
completion.
whole edition or whole type of game system.
Yep,
So
yep. I know. I'm still working through Double Eagle, but I'll probably do the Malice Darkblade
mhm.
next, and then go through the
Sure.
End Times novels. So we'll get there. But and also shout out to my brother from another mother, Vince Venturella. I
Mm,
finally remembered to pick up his new book, Death Wizard.
sure.
So I have a
Sure.
physical and PDF copy of that to help to play locally with the crew. So looking forward to some maybe paint up a vampire for the first time in my life,
Ooh, that's fun.
and not just buying a vampire to convert to like a hag queen.
You've painted vampires before.
Technically, yeah, it was for GW though,
Not for you. Not
not
for
for
you.
me, not for me.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
count. You've painted almost every army before.
I think I've
At least
painted. I technically have not painted lizardmen in any form yet for anything, which they're sitting
Ah,
right here, and I'm trying to decide which one to do next, my Votann or my lizardman. So we'll see.
lizard man.
I know that's what everyone's saying. Um, but anyway, with that, we've rambled for quite a while, Alex. More FAQ talk coming, so stay tuned for me and Neil as we'll dive deep. But yeah, for now,
It's a downgrade. You can just leave. This is the best part of the podcast. So if you guys are satisfied, you can just
if you're happy
get
and
out now.
if you got your fitness in, we'll see you next week. No, all right, Alex, we will see you next week. And until then, stay tuned for random videos about LVO stuff, I guess, because they're gonna come out for me at some point. Maybe with Alex, maybe not. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Happy lifting, bros.
All right, episode 122, Strength Hammer, back with Neil. So we had a slight delay for recording this section. So you saw me and Alex talking some fitness, having a good time, prepping for the LVO reveal show. Neil and I we're going to record before that. Had a little illness, so we had to delay. So apologies everyone, but now we know the high elves are coming. We're all excited.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
We'll
They're on the way.
yeah,
Confirmed.
confirmed.
Kind of new, but now it's confirmed.
100%. They're next. We'll chat a little bit about that, even though I talked about it on the reveal video I did, but I want to know your thoughts. But let's dive right into the most important topic. How's your lawn?
It's covered in snow. I came back from 90-degree Jamaica to to this. It's fine. It's Ohio. I love it. We're supposed to be negative 25-degree wind chills over this weekend, so that's
Yeah,
gonna be fun.
yeah, I'll get that weather too. As I said before, you go away on a nice cruise and you come back to some Sea Guards. I think it's calling to you, Neil. It's
That's right. That's right.
Sea Guard
I
Army.
if you're keeping track, by the way, that is a 115-degree swing. Okay,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit.
for our European listeners.
Actually do. I think there's like a couple in Germany that we have. I remember looking at the analytics one day. I was like, oh. However,
I can't imagine what this translates into in German. That's hilarious.
unless it's our good friend Mark, who is German but lives in the States, but just still has his stuff set to Germany, maybe.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah. 100%.
I will say this. Did you know that our analytics, it's 100% male and 99% of them are between the ages of 30 and 38?
Is that right?
That's right.
99% of them, huh?
Yep. It's a
Wow.
lot.
So that makes me old. I'm like a wise man, really. I'm like a wise man imparting wisdom to these youths.
Wow, it's been a good run, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Strength Hammer podcast. We're done. No. All right. Well, Lawn's doing well. Mine's also covered in snow, and I'm bracing for that show. But let's talk something more exciting.
Yeah.
I've been bad at this. It has been my fault when we talk hobby to not have pictures all the time.
Mhm.
I'm so used to putting them out on social medias that I fail to realize too that there's a lot of people that maybe watch us here that don't care about our social medias, and that's fine. Because you may also realize too, I've updated the layout between talking with Alex and now talking with Neil to the new format for this year, which is a nice, lovely picture of Harkonnen with the old world border around us as usual.
All right, nice.
But yeah, with that, let's bring up some hobby related pictures. I think it's this one. There we go. Mine are up first, so we'll start there. Not for lack of beautiful when we get the Neil's. Best for last, really.
Mhm.
So for Christmas, I received the Gore Chosen box set, so I painted the 4 heroes kind of quickly there. Nothing too extreme. Don't look too close, 3-foot rule, but they're game pieces. It was fun painting, just a standard corn color, because I did a white color for mine, so it was fun. Happy little side project there. I also finished painting up a Bretonnian Lord on Hippogriff that Mike Keel printed out for me and brought to me at Terathi. It was a gift, so kind of unexpected, so that was a fun little week-long project. Next up is a converted Green Knight. This was fun. So Radio Free Hammer Hall, Paul Conti over there, he reached out to me. He's doing an army. I won't say what because I don't know if it's a surprise or not, but he needed some bits that I had a plethora of. And he's like, what do you want for it? I was like, I want bits. So we just did a bits exchange. He said he had some Empire stuff. I'm like, that's fine. I don't really play Empire, but having extra bits is always good. And inside this box was this Green Knight horse, and not the Green Knight guy on top, but a Bretonnian Knight. So I had an extra shield and an extra cape. Kit bashed him up to be my own version of the Green Knight. So excited to have that, especially during this FAQ we're going to talk about tonight, where he can now only come out of the woods. So he's got I got him, and he's nerfed. Great. That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if I showed these, but the Ho Ho Hobby Vices gift exchange I received from Bright Minis, some Lumineth Realm Lords, so I had those all painted up here. Some apparently extreme close-ups on these, but just a hero and a unit, so nice and fun. Added to my Lumineth army. It's fun to get back to that scheme. And before I talk about a game played, we have to show off Neil's beautiful, beautiful new thing. Neil, tell me about this awesome dragon you have here.
So that is like a version. Emmeric's old dragon came with like a couple different heads. The body was always the same, right? But like the tail was different. You make a different head. Had some different hands to it. Like there's the one that's like spirit fingers.
Yeah.
His wrists are all back. I don't know what that's all about. I always like the big claws, right? So that's why this bro's got the claws and everything. But he was a really fun paint up. The guy on top is the torso of Emmerich, right? Because it fits on the dragon perfectly.
I see the cloak over his shoulder too. That's the Emmerich cloak. Yeah.
Actually, the torso. So I'm sorry. Like from the hips down is Emmerich.
Oh.
From the torso up is just a kit bash of some different types of Last Sword Minis 3D prints. So the chest is different. The arms are off a different one. There is like a dragon lord who's like pointing on one of their dragons. I'm not a huge fan of their dragons. They like dragons whose arms are the wings.
Oh, right? That's a wyvern. That's a wyvern.
Wyvern, right? Yeah. But their argument, because I asked him about it, right, is that like anatomically, if such a thing was to exist, the arm, like you would never see like that would be its arms, right? It's also the way Smaug is
sure
is represented as well. So that is the type of dragon. Don't get me wrong, okay? But I like the big claws and stuff like that too, right?
Sure,
So
sure.
that's why that's on there for me. That's why I picked that dragon. The sword, if you look at this guy, is really
Yeah.
cool. That is a flaming sword. I'm not sure how well I pulled it off, but it's a
looks good
flaming
to me.
sword from a rare version of like a lore master, essentially. Um, and then the head is off like there. That's also, I think, is that the lore master? No, I think that is. They have a guy who has like a phoenix on his arm or whatever. That's the head off of that. Anyway, you guys can go online on lastsword.com. You can check it out. There's a bunch of like those miniatures hanging around there. If you're interested, I know I posted this to the Warhammer High Elves page on Facebook, and somebody was asking me like, "Hey, what are all the pieces of that?" I just direct you to Lost Sword Miniatures. Got a lot of cool crap out there, and I've got a lot of their STLs, so it's easy to kit bash and do things like that. So, my 3D printer is functional anyway. So, but yeah, as far as the paint job goes on the dragon itself, I'm really happy with the dragon. I think the dragon turned out really nice. It's kind of got that midnight blue to it, like a dark blue going up into like the lighter scales, which also I wanted to kind of. If you've been following the Tale of Four Warlords that we did, that light blue is prominent throughout my entire army. There are also some navies as well. So this guy just seamlessly goes right into that army, looking pretty nice. So
Yeah, he looks
also,
good.
yeah,
I love this. I love the inside. It's a silly thing. The inside of his hand, the way you did that, I love that.
yeah. And actually, so the blue is. I started out with like a contrast blue. It's like a darker blue, not quite navy, but darker blue. Then I went over that with like nightshade, and then I went over that with like a lighter blue, like a more actual blue style contrast again. Then I went over that with the nightshade again. And then after that, I picked out all the highlights of the scales with the light blue on there that you see.
Yep.
And then I went over nightshade again over the scales. So there's some deeper blues. There's actually, technically before I did that last one, I did some dry brushing in between on that too of some whites to try and pull up some of the details as well. So that's how the hand has turned out that well. It wasn't anything that I like line highlighted or anything like that. It was just dry brushing, washes, and contrast paint.
Just the way it worked out. It's like, and it's silly. Like all of it looks great, but yeah, it's like I'm like, that hand looks amazing. I don't know, like it's
the hand did turn out pretty good. So and usually I put I do my like spikes and claws and things like that more with like a brown, and then I might come up to a white.
Yeah.
Kind of brown more at the base, right? But this way, the way that I did it looks like the white is coming out of the blue a little bit, and I thought, you know what, I want to keep it like that, so I didn't do that this time, and it just looks real crisp across all the horns and everything with that white. It's an off white too. I know it probably looks very bright white. The way my iPhone takes pictures, I hate the way it takes pictures. Like the model actually doesn't really look like this. I think it looks better than what just looking at it with the naked eye. But please don't zoom in on my models. That's always the caveat. You will be disappointed.
Whoops, because we're in here kind of deep right now on screen.
You're gonna need some kind of nausea medication if you zoom my models. So I don't want you to do that. But yeah, I'm very proud of the way it turned out. I actually can't wait to do another dragon for this army. I want to do like the dragon mage at some point.
Yeah.
I'll probably use a different style dragon. Maybe look at like a 3D print dragon.
Hey,
we're
getting a dragon coming back out.
What's that?
We're getting my dragon coming back out.
I hate that dragon.
I know you do. You're so silly, but I know you do.
Maybe if I kit bashed that dragon, maybe. I don't know. I just hate how slim it is. I hate how like the little nubby T-Rex arms on it. It's a no for me. Not that I didn't own one at one time. I did, but yeah, that one's a no for me.
Yeah, no, he looks great. Very well done. I will field the other dragons in your stead, but look forward to seeing more. So yeah, great job.
Yep. That actually was my favorite dragon, and I actually had to order a Draconis army in AOS for a while.
Yeah, you did.
That one ported over from Fantasy to me into AOS. Couldn't find a spot for it. Then they Order Draconis became a thing for like, I don't know, 8 months, right? And And so I had that Order Draconis army, and that was my main dragon. That was the general guy was on that dragon, and now I got another one. So
Yeah, what did we
I was
learn?
really happy with the old paint job. I'm even more happy with this one. So
What did we learn about selling your models, Neil? Don't do it.
yeah, I know it's silliness. It's silliness.
Perfect. No, I love it. Good job. That's awesome. All right. I will show a little picture of the games played here. Whoop. Oh, no, let's don't save that. Sorry about that, everybody. Anyway, so I also ran a dragon for the first time ever, Neil.
Uh-huh.
Now I had my dragon that you hate because it's the leaping off one that I love.
Yes.
But
Well,
my friend Tom.
let me say this.
Okay.
Dragons are like pizza for me, right? Some pizza is better than pizza, but all pizza is good pizza, right?
Oh, that's true. Fair. That's good. Yeah. So, my friend Tom wanted to play a game. We got together, and I was just like, okay. He said he was building a list, a Chaos Dwarf list. It was slightly askew on the percentages. He's like, it's technically illegal. I'm like, it's barely illegal. Who cares? Let's have fun. But I said, you know what? It's a good time. Let me drop everything. Like, keep my white lines, keep my sisters, keep my core, like minimum. Drop everything I can. Let's bring a dragon mage as a fourth hero. It's able to fit it in. I ran it. And oh my god, do I love dragons.
Even the mage, huh?
Even the
mage
mage.
is working well.
I just took battle magic, just went in, really wasn't even doing much magic casting with him. The dragon was just doing good work. And it was really good. So like as you see the field layout here is I had a couple units at Larian Reavers. They kind of did nothing. They got whittled down to 2 each. We're kind of running away, nothing major. The Lion Chariot over here on the left tried its best. Didn't really survive. It died. Dragon was the only other thing I had that died. So White Lion technically died. Dragon died. Nothing else died. It was whittled down, but it was alive. And the dragon was tough to kill. But you can see here, there's a nice big juicy block of black orcs as the core. I annihilated it. It had a nice, had like a black orc hero or something in there too. And then that's the only thing I killed of his. And it was really funny, like playing Tom. He's like, we got through all of our rounds. He's like, good game. I'm like, yeah, it's a great game. And and the way he said it, I was just like, okay, let's tally up points. He's like, I killed your dragon. I won. I'm like, no. That dragon was only worth like 330 points. I don't think you got enough points on me. So we did the banners, did the percentages on who's fleeing, who's left, all that sort of stuff. I won by 180 points.
Ooh, that's W.
That's a W against Chaos Dwarfs. Added a bit to that dragon's base. Unfortunately, did not have any Chaos Dwarf bits. But you know what works for Chaos Dwarf bits right now, Neil?
What's that?
Fire Slayer bits.
You
can find ones that are close enough. So that's what I did, and it was good.
Perfect.
But nice old world win with a dragon. And some smaller news. We're not gonna talk about much, but also say is I don't hate it. The club we're trying out. We try out different games on occasion. So for the next 2 months we're playing Saga, which is a historical version. We're gonna play the fantasy version too. Got a game in that. Pretty fun skirmish game. Pretty simple. It's different.
Heard of it, never played it.
It's I'm not going to talk about it here too often, but other than like, yeah, I did it. I picked up the fantasy book. I'll probably talk more about the fantasy version when we get to it because that's a little bit more interesting than historicals, at least to our audience who, based upon current poll, said they like Age of Sigmar, they like Old World, just barely behind Age of Sigmar. Then Hobby Chat, and Lon's on the last, which I was surprised about, but Lon still had a nice like double-digit percentage. So
I can feel the sarcasm oozing out of that.
Other than that, let's jump over to quick couple tidy up notes here. So real quick, I forgot to show this off during my excitement during the reveal episode I did that came out this morning. I breezed right past the Warhammer Age of Sigmar roadmap. Didn't even look. I was like, oh, wait, what? What's this? So coming up next, obviously I think we knew about Night Haunt, but Iden of Deepkin are next as well. So we get some more elves coming out. Khorne's coming out on the horizon, which Neil, I know you're a Khorne guy. We also have KO, it looks like, which you're a KO guy.
Could be expensive year for me.
Depends on what they release. I mean,
for me,
we'll see. And then it looks like flesh eater quartz, I guess. I don't know, whatever that is. And then something else I wanted to look at here. I'm gonna come back to us real quick. If I can figure this out shortly. There we are. Because Neil, I want to know your thoughts on the reveal show with the High Elves. How you feeling? How excited are you about that?
I am very excited that it is coming out. I'm very excited to see what they're gonna do with the book. I like the front cover. I think it's a little different art than what we're used to for that. I feel like, but
Yeah, they're doing a
I
new
don't
art
hate it.
style in general because
Yeah.
a lot of the books have had this. The Dwarves had this. I know
Uh-huh.
Warriors Chaos had it. Empire kind of has it. It's a little slightly different, but yeah.
Mhm. I don't hate it at all.
Yeah.
So we'll go with it. Do I like the old 8th edition cover of their book
Well,
more? Yes,
listen,
I
you
do.
can't do perfect 2 times in a row. It just doesn't work
Right,
that
I
way.
know it's so perfect.
Yeah.
So, but yes, this is still pretty cool, and I'm glad it's new and it's something different to look at. So, the what's coming back is fine.
All makes
But
sense.
are the Reavers? The Reavers aren't new, right? Or
They
are
are. They are. So
they? They
the
are
Reavers
new.
are
Yeah,
a fresh resculpt based upon the old stuff, which
yeah.
is hilarious. I mentioned it on the reveal episode show, but I realized, oh, Terathi's from Illyrian. I don't have a horse version of her yet, like a mounted version.
Yeah.
At first, I thought, oh, maybe I can get like just a random horse because of my bits thing. And I said, no, she needs to be on an Illyrian Reaver,
Yeah.
just for looks. So I went online last night at 11:30, found one, shipped. It was like $12 or something. Like, sure, just one Illyrian Reaver. I'm like, sure, that's fine. Ship it up. I'll buy the torso half I need. I will kit bash up a mounted Terathi. Great. Then see this and go, oh, these are probably gonna be easier to convert.
Uh-huh.
So do I save that bit or that Illyrian Reaver, mix it in with these, use those to? I'm thrilled because I am
Yeah.
spoiled with choice now. But like Illyrian Reavers,
I mean,
Illyrian being my home location for my elves, getting
yeah.
new models is unexpected. Not on the cards, but
These
here we are.
are amazing looking models. The more I look at them,
Hmm.
and now that I realize they are new, um, uh, they are so good looking that they do not match. Um, their awesomeness does not match what they do on the battlefield.
Oh,
I'm glad for them though. I'm very glad for them.
yeah,
So
I'm excited with it. Also, I'm not sure if you saw, if you go look at the Sword Masters down there, if you go like scroll down to the Sword Masters, because obviously there was an issue with the Isle of Blood stuff that some of the
yeah.
High Elf stuff was mixed with the Skaven stuff, which is why I think we got to retool to Lyrian Reavers.
Uh-huh.
Sword Masters were all separate enough that they were able to do it.
Okay.
But if you look at the champion, banner bearer, and the hornblower in the top one, they retooled them to give us different variants of those same 3 things. The base model's still the same, but instead of the sword being up for the champion, he's holding it down like a badass.
Oh
The
yeah.
banner's different and the horn's different.
Okay. Yeah.
And those 3 models alone mean I'm buying up 20 more sword
That,
masters apparently.
that horn says Tyrannok to me,
It
not Safari.
Yeah, it does
But
scream. It does scream Tyrannok. I won't lie. I think that's probably a good call. But also, is it Tyrannok usually has a horse variant where I think that's still missing like the horse head on it.
yeah,
I
it's
get the
the
shape. I get the shape.
yeah. All right, I'm fine with it. I'm not going to argue too much about it.
I'm only gonna argue because I now have to buy 20 more sword masters.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm most excited for?
What's that?
This whole thing. This is going to sound terrible. I'm most excited for these transfers.
Actually, I am glad you said that because we're gonna go back to my image screen because I have the pictures of the transfers for us to look over in detail.
Oh,
So here we
perfect.
go. Yeah, now I am also excited for transfers.
I was actually like that dragon, right? He's got some like longer flowing cloaks coming off like his pants and everything and around there. And I'm like, man, I wish I had some cool transfers. I hope they do some transfers,
Yep.
with the high elves. And here we
Well,
are.
the thing that's gonna be interesting, if you look at the shields of the spearmen, you remember the old spearmen like that I have and that you had, have it was like a 3D. It was a piece of a model, like it was 3D, and you
Yeah.
glued it onto the shield. They don't have it anymore. It's only transfers on their shields.
Ah,
So
I mean, that's great. I love that
I don't mind
because
it.
it is much easier. I mean, I hate painting those raised surfaces and then like trying to get,
Hmm.
it's 3D, right? So trying to get it a good line on that, and then of course you smudge it onto the shield, then you have to repaint that area of the shield again. It's like it used to drive me nuts. So I'd much rather have a transfer as long as the transfers are firm and come off easy and don't fold up and rip and tear and all the rest of it. So
Newer. Okay. Well, the problem we had with transfers with some of ours is we had really old ones. I've never had an
uh,
issue with modern GW ones, so these are gonna be just fine.
perfect. Yeah, but these look great.
Yeah. So we have
They-
a bunch of Trace, a bunch of Lothran, which as we now know are the two army of renown or two armies that we get in there, which is cool. I love it. Temple of Azure. So once again, you're talking about long flowing capes. The 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 cloaks on the Phoenix Guard are asking for these so much.
Oh, sure.
But also, I think what's neat about it is like these are gonna be for shields because you can have a Char's theme, the Lothran theme, even like a Temple of Azure theme where it's spearmen wearing this stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but also Avalorn, Neil, which me and you heavily play into.
hmm Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
great, love it. And then the banners. I like that they did the split versions of the banners for the two prong versions. That made me
Uh-huh.
happy. Seeing all the runes in multiple colors is good. I kind of wish they only did two colors though, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Just
Well, I mean, there's enough of them for sure.
well, yeah,
I like that they did a lot of different colors just because actually I look at some of these, right? And like if it doesn't match my color scheme, I don't know if I can use them,
yeah. But if they
Like,
just did black and white and gave me twice as many, because like right now there's only one of each in each color.
yeah.
It's the only
Yeah.
downside.
Yeah. All right. I don't disagree with that.
Obviously, we get some chariot banners, which could also be for some flags as well. I like that there's a the Dragon Prince unit gets its own banner things, which is great
Yeah.
because the one I did for mine has like a bunch of the old transfers. And the more I look at it, the more I'm like, it's not my favorite. So I might paint over it and put these on it, or just put this
Uh,
right over it because it feels empty without it. But yeah, we got Safri here. Oh, it's just so good. This is such a good transfer sheet.
mhm. So, how do you feel about the new hero for the Sea Guard?
Honestly, I love her for two specific reasons. One, um, as someone who likes to mix in male and female sculpts in the elf armies,
hmm
the dark elves were better at it and the wood elves were better at it than the high elves. So having a female leader for the high elves feels really cool. It's different. And
The
also,
only way I know this is female though is based on the name.
what's an elf?
That's what I mean. I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, you just said that. I'm like, oh, she is female.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is too, I saw it briefly. I should have saved it. I saw it briefly on Reddit for just the Warhammer Fantasy Reddit, and someone found that pretty much it's not exactly that. It's mostly that. It's an old concept of a champion for Seaguard that is that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like there's some history behind it, like that we've never really seen it. Like
Oh,
internal concept art apparently had that sort of thing. Hey, she had two spears, but it's fairly spot on.
interesting.
That was a quick read through Reddit. So if that's wrong, let me know in the comments below. But that's what I found on the Reddit site.
It is a very AOSy type model. How's that for a word?
I'll give that. Yeah, because I could see that fitting in Lumineth very easily.
You can put it right in there
Yep.
without even skipping a heartbeat, right?
Well, I mean, is that good? Because maybe they're getting the full design team to do work on these models now. I mean,
Yeah, it is. It
this
is good.
This is the
It's
first.
it's more design than I thought, that I'm used to for Old World, right?
Yeah,
So, like if you take a look at that,
the Trace
the
hero.
Lord of Trace or Trace, how do
Yeah.
you want to say it? He looks a little more traditional, right?
Yes.
For like a fantasy type general. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing in anybody's opinion, I think it's fine either way. It's just taken me a little bit to get used to seeing this for fantasy. That's it, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think I could get used to it. I don't know. The pirate thing is what's kind of thrown me off a little bit with the eye patch.
Yeah,
Always got eye patch. But outside of that,
I get it, but yeah, like it's we're not used to it. We're used to that in the dark elf side.
right, right. I'm not used to seeing. I'm used to my high elves looking put together, right? Not like battle damaged. Right? I don't know why. It's not the image I normally see, which doesn't mean that that'd be realistic in
Yeah.
any kind of way, right? You know, but and maybe that's what makes this one cool too, is to see that. So
The one interesting thing that I'm not gonna like about that character, I love her. I'm a buyer, I'm a painter, I'm gonna put her in my army for sure. I'm buying everything. Like let's just be
Yeah.
honest. She is so action oriented in her pose, and no other Sea Guard is.
Oh
So like
yeah,
that's gonna be the only thing that's gonna be a little bit weird is like she's probably obviously gonna be with the Sea Guard.
yeah.
So
They'll be just standing there like this.
like
she's like the only one with the nuts to
yeah.
to go charge the.
All the others are
enemy.
like, where'd this bitch go? And I don't know. Gotta follow her. But also
Pretty
too, like
funny.
I was the double thrilling. Like I was, if you watch the video, like you'll see like me just be exasperated with joy. But the fact that I've chose my army and I put Sea Guard in it and I put in White Lions and now I'm being rewarded is just
Yeah.
amazing. Like and
Oh yeah.
I clearly made the right decision putting all the army back together as one collection as opposed to keeping it separate. Because now I get
Yeah.
to just have joy and fun.
Yeah, it's if this is indicative of what they're going to do as they kind of replace some of these old models over time,
Yep.
we're talking years here, years and years. Then at some point that she may not look that out of place,
Oh,
right?
right.
You know, she may be in a unit that's just looking badass top to bottom. And also, I don't hate it when she's looking a little bit more standoutish because then I know there's a hero.
That's
Right?
true.
Sometimes you look at these units, you're like, which one's the champion? Which one's the hero? You
And
know, like okay,
also,
all right.
let's be honest. No Hero Rock. Hero Rock is not a plague that exists in Old World. I
Yeah.
think maybe one or two models have it, but it's not consistent. So
I also think it's cool being a fan of AOS and being a fan of the Idnet Deepkin, and knowing the history of the transition
yeah,
for the Idnet Deepkin. You can see it in this model,
yes,
right? And so that's kind of neat to see. They're like, okay, you know, this was the style of elf, right? You know, and now like you see what they had become.
it
You know,
makes
when
a
they
little
pull
more
those
sense. You're
bolts out,
right.
and it's very like they're like, okay, all right, cool. I can see the link. You know,
No, that's a great call out. I didn't really even like think that deep yet on it. So that's phenomenal. But I need to segue off of you here for a second. So you said you're excited to see what they can do in the future. Well, sir, did you see a certain roadmap?
I have not seen where the roadmaps are yet. I was at work
ro-
today, so I couldn't.
The
couldn't
roadmap
catch
for this, go to the Brayherd image, which we're getting a new Brayherd model or a blind gray whatever shaman. I don't know what they are.
Oh, there we go.
Go that scroll all the way to the bottom. You're gonna see a roadmap of what's out, what's coming, what's next.
Uh-huh.
So what's next is Wood Elves. Well, obviously, High Elves are next. After that, it's gonna be Wood Elves and Beastmen.
Uh-huh.
But on screen right now, there's gonna be an image from Grand Cathay. Now, this is art made for this game. Also, they're in Total War Warhammer, correct?
So that image is below right there, huh?
You see that blank box?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go to the blank box now. If you scroll in on it, you can kind of see like how the skeletons are sort of imposed over top of it, barely. But there's something else behind them that doesn't go up past that square. You see that?
Huh.
It's a little bit of a mountain thing. And this big picture I have here, some keen-eyed folks out there zoomed in to a very right around here, a very specific mountain inside of this image right here that superimposed lines up perfectly with the silhouette of what's inside that box behind those skeletons.
Yeah.
So everyone's going, they changed their mind or something, and Grand Cathay will be coming out after we get through the rest of the core factions.
Awesome. I mean, they need to, right? They're printing money.
I know.
They're literally printing money. Like, come on, guys.
Like, can
You
you
know,
just imagine how cool that army is going to look?
you know, nobody has it too. You've got like a world's worth of, you know, Warhammer Fantasy people playing, whether they're playing 6th edition or whatever. You know, Nobody has this army.
I don't even
Maybe
see
they
3D prints for it.
maybe they 3D printed some version that might look something like, but nobody knows what it looks like.
I don't know, because other people that have talked about this, that I've watched like some of their content, doesn't seem to say that there's 3D prints out there that fit it. Because also it's gonna
Not
look like
really.
the
Not
Total
really.
War stuff. Let's be honest. That's gonna be the
Yeah.
design influence.
Yeah, I really hope so,
Yeah.
because that would be badass.
All I know
Could
is
you
that
imagine those balloons, like having like those balloons up over top, right?
I want that big Colossus in the back more than the balloons.
The big Colossus.
Yeah. All I know is, like, boy, please don't release that at the same time you release like Malarian and Sigmar. I'm gonna want it.
Oh yeah.
Also, one other quick little hobby note here that I forgot to mention, and this will be for a future episode. Got this bad boy in. The Empire Arcane Journal.
Oh,
It's blurry.
nice.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking through it, reading some of the lore a little bit today. It's cool. We'll do our review on it as we usually do. It's gonna be real funny, because there's gonna be folks that have enjoyed our Arcane Journal reviews so far. Because for everyone that might be new, whenever we do a review for Arcane Journals, we only do Arcane Journals. Like, we focus on the new. We haven't really done army-specific reviews. A lot of other people out there are doing great jobs with it. But when we get to the High Elf Arcane Journal, sit tight. That's going to be a 4-hour episode.
Yeah,
Like,
it's gonna be deep.
I'm going to have to
Going
pay
deep.
Neil hourly to quit his job for that, for take a
deep
day off.
dive.
Yeah. Yeah. But but yes.
Yeah. If you guys aren't fans of High Elves, you may want to tune out for that one.
Oh yeah, if you're not fans of High Elves, I don't know how you're.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how you've made it this far. Yeah.
I will say, by the way, that Shaman looks badass as well.
It does. It does. I feel bad. I probably glossed over a little bit too much because I was so excited for the High Elves. But yeah.
I've always said this. I will continue to say it. Like, GW keeps wanting to tell me that Beastmen don't sell. They don't sell well. Okay, and so we're not making new models for them. Well, they don't sell well because a lot of the models are old, right? And people don't like the way the models look. If you would make some cooler models, they would sell much better. Look at that thing. You don't want that thing? Kidding me?
Yeah.
Right? You want an army of stuff that looks like that? Absolutely, you do. Looks amazing.
I'm waiting for Old World to be like, hey, here's Beastman. We've redone most of the line.
Right.
And it to be like a huge, black arrow up on their P&L, and all of a sudden they're just staring at the AOS guys going, what are you doing?
Yeah. I mean,
what's
cooler
going on?
dragon ogres? Yeah, nobody wants that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Let's get rid of this.
Yeah. Sounds terrible.
All right. Well,
but
with
anyway,
all of that, Neil, do you have anything else you want to say about High Elves before we do the main topic?
Oh, goodness. Let me go back real quick, and let's just take a look at this real quick. See if there's anything else. I'm looking at this dragon again, and it isn't that bad. I just remember it. I don't know what really got in my craw about it once upon a time, but I think it's just the T-Rex. I think it's just the T-Rex.
It's the arms. That's fair.
It's just the arms, and I can replace those. You know? Could 3D print something, some kind of dragony arms on it. Now it's okay.
You absolutely could. I keep looking at that because I'm like, okay, I need some more Shadow Warriors because I only have 20. So a couple more of those would be pretty good to have. Not that I ever need more than 20, but I want more than 20 because I have like 30 or 40 of everything else.
Yeah.
Need more Phoenix Guard. I technically have one of each Phoenix, but I could add another one. I probably will buy one just to paint it up to be the Astral Phoenix from the old 8th edition Monsters Arcanum.
Mm-hmm.
But like, and then I need to buy a lion chariot so I can use it as a Tyrannok chariot, and then use the lions to make a mounted lion. I'm looking at this going, because also too, like I have a Lizardman army staring at me right now, and like a small Votann army, and I'm like, how do I paint all of these in time? Because this is, let's be honest, next month this is probably gonna be coming out.
Well, personally, I wouldn't even worry about it, but that's just me. So, other things about this, by the way, as I'm scrolling through. Hey, we got a handmaiden model again, guys.
Metal. She's coming out in metal, not Finecast. And I will buy her again because I only have the Finecast version, and I'm so scared to use her.
Just don't drop her; she will trip. And then we have, we've got our our Sky Cutter that is not going to be $500 on eBay.
Right.
So that's good.
I'll be buying one of those because I only have one, and I have the
Yep.
wings down version. I want the wings up version, like in the picture.
Oh yes. Looks really nice. So yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. You got Core Hill coming out, so apparently somebody did get a handle. Somebody
Yeah.
did rob GW early.
Apparently.
So, Jesus Christ, I don't know what the hell's going on over there, but
Well, I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious, like what core hill's going to be in that, because like you know, is he the leader of the? Because they talk more about the new character than they did him, which makes sense. But
yeah. Well, he'll be metal, I'm sure as well,
he is.
right?
Yeah, he's metal. They confirmed metal for him.
Yeah, Metal Kit's returning.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to be Finecast, or not Finecast, sorry, Forge World Resin, which is not Finecast, and I actually do trust it and like it. I think the new characters are, and that's it.
The only thing, as I'm reading too, that I'm not excited about. All right, it's in this metal thing. Is there anything you can guess what I'm not excited about, Chuck? If you read that little Metal Kits thing, it says,
"What's that?"
The last sentence. Swooping in at a later date are the famed great eagles. They are famed. Great eagles are great. I love them. But those things are derpy as hell.
They are. That was the exact words I used when I was talking about that on the episode earlier, the reveal episode. I wonder if they don't just go, hey, we're just going to use the old world or the Lord of the Rings ones because they're better and that's what you all use anyway.
Please.
Yeah.
Please, for love of God, please.
Like, I have a metal one in my High Elf army and a metal one in my Wood Elf army. And I still thought about buying, if I ever want to run it, I will buy the plastic ones and make those.
There is a 4th edition Great Eagle, metal Great Eagle, that is better than these ones that they're about to put out.
I know.
And that thing was made in like 1989. Okay, like we're the long ago. So, but anyway, I desist. I am done. I'll say no more.
That's fine. I'm excited. We will talk more about High Elves probably left and right, because you better believe anytime they release a single article, I don't care if it's 2 sentences about High Elves, you're gonna get a 30-minute video on it. All right. Anyway, let's transition to the main topic. We're a little bit behind on this because we don't need to rush out everything because we're not that type of show. You guys come to us because you love us and you're dear to us. We're going to talk about the Old World FAQ tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some changes. I'm not unhappy about any of the changes that came through, except for this first one that we're going to talk about. And it's only because I like the silliness of what it used to be, even though no one ever did it. Mm-hmm. So first up, Neil, if you're following along, I assume you are, Ravening Hordes.
Let me get back to it, but go ahead. Yep.
So if we're looking at this, the first thing is the ed button at, where you add the following rule to the beginning of the rule, 0 to 1 per model. I will say boo to this. Not because it doesn't make sense. It does. I get it. But in the last FAQ, they allowed you to have as many as you wanted, as long as you modeled it. Do you remember that, Neil?
Oh, yes. I do remember that. Absolutely.
And to be honest, I never saw more than like 2 on it, and I saw people who did actually model it. And I don't bemoan it because it's bad for the game. I bemoan it because, man, that was the most fun FAQ ever. Like, yeah, you can have it, just model it. I love it. Like, there's been good schmarm and bad schmarm in these FAQs. That was good, but I get it. I actually don't hate it, but I also don't like it. All right, next up, we have the Arcane Journal's Warrior of Chaos. So Skin Wolves, they're on a 50 mil base. Plus, they have Fear now. And they corrected the word so that Jarl actually is a champion because it has the champion word now. I like the change to 50 by 50 because I think in the Arcane Journal it says 40 by 40, but then they shipped with 50 by 50. So clearly a little miscommunication that was corrected.
Gotcha.
And Fear, I think that makes sense. If I saw a werewolf wearing human skin, I would be afraid of that. Another quick change in this is Warp Fire Dragons add close order, so you get that +1 in combat res. I honestly think, because every other dragon I think has close order, so chances are folks were just doing this out of habit anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on those? I mean, it's nothing really ground blowing or mind blowing there, but
not really. No, nothing really.
All right.
Gets me going too much. Anything either way there.
Would you like to read how the Night Goblins are going to get a change in Orcs and Goblins here?
Yeah, sure. So, how are victory points scored for Night Goblin unit that includes one or more fanatics once its fanatics have been released? Fanatics are an upgrade to the unit. So, basically, what this is going to say without me reading everything verbatim is you got to kill the whole unit if you want the points of the fanatics.
Yep, they're an upgrade, which makes
Yep.
sense. It's just like a unit thing. I get it. Like, if you could target them and shoot them off, which you used to do, then this would probably be a different. But yeah, I'm fine. Like, okay, I can't target them. I got to kill the unit. Sure.
So, here's a surprising one for me right here.
Okay.
This is the next one for Orc Boar Boys. If I upgrade a unit of Boar Boys to have the Biggin special rule, do their War Boars benefit as well? Yes. Really? I
Okay.
did not see that one coming. Note that the strength characteristic for Biggins is modified whilst they are engaged in combat, and that impact hits are made using the model's unmodified strength characteristic. Interesting and good thing to remember.
Yes.
But
The order of
I can't
operations.
believe that, wow, we're upgrading the War Boars there as well.
Are the boars base strength 3 or strength 4?
Base strength 3.
Okay, so that's fine. I don't hate that. I like that clarification of impact
I
hits
guess
are
you need
different.
a bigger pig if you got a bigger boy.
That makes sense. That's orc
You
logic
can
right
be a
there.
big pig too. You knew that was coming.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. You must get the big pig model now and fit it on that small little base.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, everybody, please get big pig.
Yeah. All right. Can
right.
the glowy green amulet be used by a character that isn't a wizard? Long and short of it, yes. It just means you can dispel as a wizard. Like, yeah, have fun. Like, cool.
Yeah.
I to be honest, I think we were all doing that anyway. But apparently it was asked enough that it needed to be clarified. So there we go. It's in there. Sure. No problem there.
All right, we'll
See.
take the next one. Can size of a ranged self spell's aura effect be increased by the Idol of Gork? No. The aura of effect of a ranged self spell is not its range. All right.
There you go. There you go. Unless it can physically make the model bigger on the table, you don't get that.
Yeah.
Nice and simple. Nice
Thanks.
little cleanup. Okay, so now we're on to Arcane Journals, Warrior of Chaos. So,
Can we take it?
yeah, I got this. What happens if I wish to accept a challenge to a fight, a warrior's duel, which this is before the game, the army can issue a challenge to figure out who fights first, unit champions. But you do not have a single wound champion in the army. Essentially, you roll off who makes the first turn. Nothing happens. You have no one that can accept, therefore you just roll off as normal. But I think this will get around if you're playing Warriors of Chaos and you have more. Well, the Bretonian thing still works because the Bretonian things is you accept the challenge. You have to accept the challenge. It's the Bretonian thing to get the blessing, and then you go second. Yeah, it's
But with you can't accept the challenge, right? If you don't put any champions in there, you just get the roll off, right?
Well, I mean, there's no multi wounds. Because technically, a single wound character. Oh no, maybe you're right. That would affect that. But
So
also,
if you just didn't put any champions in there, it's just normal crap, right?
that's true. You could do that. A couple things popped up with this. One, the roll off to determine who takes a turn as normal means if you issue the challenge and they can't accept it, it seems like there's no pluses or minuses or no pluses to the roll. So someone finishes playing first. I think that negates that, which is still a benefit possibly to the Warriors of Chaos to know that going in.
You will see actually in this fact, I've listened, and I've read these things, and I've listened to other podcasts kind of break this stuff down. And when I'm listening to these guys, like a lot of the stuff I didn't even consider, like there are answers that really just go against the foundations of things they've already set, and just just how you'd expect the game to be played. So it is. I think sometimes they just need to take a little bit more time, a couple more sentences, to really make sure that we know what we're dealing with here, instead of trying to be so succinct that it leaves a lot of ambiguity.
Right, because we're going to look at the next sentence here. When fighting a warrior's duel challenge between two unit champions, are such things as magic standards carried by the units counted? No, the duels fought between the champions alone without support from their units. We're going to look at Bretonians again, who have a unit of Grail Knights where every single person in there in the rules can accept a challenge as a champion. What if you use the BSB?
Yeah. And
In
yes, right?
in my mind, yes, he's physically
Yeah.
carrying it. I would allow it, but technically
Oh,
by
yeah,
these
of
rules,
course.
it says no.
Yeah, it says he's not getting any help, right? Not getting any help.
Yep.
So
All right. Anyway, yeah, like there's little things like there, but to be honest, a lot of the things that were even cleaned up in all these FAQs were stuff that we were not stressed about anyway.
yeah. Yeah. There's just some interesting stuff. That's all.
There is. You want to take the next one here?
Yes. Does a unit with blood greed special rule
We're on
always?
Beastman Brayherds, by the way.
Yep. Sorry. Does a unit with the blood greed special rule always roll only a single d6 when making a pursuit roll, or only whilst
Whilst.
frenzied? And the answer is only whilst frenzied.
Yeah. It's like they just repeated the last sentence and they sound smart.
And just like, but they had to get the whilst in there for sure.
I know. It's always there.
Only whilst.
Only
frenzied.
whilst. All right. Tomb King's Khemri up next. Can a Casket of Souls move at the end of a shooting phase of its turn using a reserve move special rule? Should it have it? Meanwhile, a Casket of Souls is an immovable object. And yes, it's immovable, but you still get to do it because it's not being done as a normal move. So, yeah, you can do reserve moves with that unit. And I think the best lore accurate description I heard of this was, yeah, they can move as normal. It just takes a little bit longer than usual, so you can only do it if you have the reserve special moves. So it's like, sure, whatever.
Ugh.
It's minor, whatever. Anyway, let's move over to the Forces of Fantasy.
Speaking.
All right. Are you there, Neil?
I am here.
All right.
Let's do so we are doing errata right now. Okay, so we are looking at page 96, questing knights. Change the unit size to 3+.
Which I think it was 5+ originally.
Yes.
And the reason I don't hate this is because sometimes you build lists and you have a weird amount of points left with Bretonnia.
Yeah.
And-
Well, and then isn't there aren't the questing knights what do you call it? When they have charge off on their own. Impetuous. Aren't they impetuous?
I believe they are impetuous too.
Right.
Plus, also, I
Oh.
think they sell them as units of 3 because it's all old metal models. So that might be
Yeah.
the case too.
So that's not a. I mean, if you're going to have an impetuous unit that you really don't want to play, but there's only there's only 3 of them. So if they do charge off some random direction, like at that point, you're really just using them for chaff anyway, right? So you put them out there, you run them forward, maybe you hold something up, maybe you kill a little bit with them when they charge,
Yep.
maybe
Give them great weapons. Maybe they charge
clear
into a
up-
flank. Sure.
clear up some garbage unit of chaos hounds or something like that, and then whatever. So.
All right, our first big change coming up here, like real big. Sisters of the Thorn. Change the Daughters of Eternity special rule to models with this special rule have a 4-up ward against any wound suffered. And change the first sentence of the Deepwood Coven special rule to essentially you have to roll for battle magic or elementalism lore. You don't get to choose it. So this negates a specific build that's been going on. To be fair, I haven't seen it, but it has been out there where people take multiple Sisters of the Thorn and say, I take the Pillar of Fire. I take the Pillar of Fire. And all of a sudden...
And I take the Pillar of Fire again.
Yeah, and it's just not fun.
Yeah.
So...
I know in competitive play, right, you hate this.
Yes.
You absolutely hate this change because now you can't get something,
You have to roll
consistent.
for it, yeah.
Now it has to be random, right? I really wish the choosing of spells just wasn't a thing. Ever.
Well...
Right? I just wish it was just random, pick it. You don't get to, unless maybe it's a random special character. It's only the special character that can do it. I don't know. Man.
To be fair, there's not a lot of picking of spells. This was the worst case. And the Lore Familiar we'll see later gets a little bit of a nerf. So,
Yeah.
And I don't hate it, even though I use it all the time.
Yeah.
So I think we're more leaning towards what your wish is, Neil. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to see your 3 Pillars of Fire, right? I know it's good. I get it's good, right? It's good on its own. It's good once, And when we overdo it, now we're getting to a point where we're opening up the doors to the cheese factory,
Yeah.
right? And
Now,
that's too much.
if I walk up to the table and someone brings their Sisters of the Thorn and they manage to roll that on random dice,
Perfect.
I'm gonna go buy the beer. We're gonna have a great time. At least I am, because they're both for me.
Right. Right.
That's different and less feel bad than, hey, I brought this bullshit. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm fine with this. The thing about it is, with a lot of this stuff where you're affecting units, my question is, okay, you made a big nerf to them, right?
Yep.
What'd you do with the points? Nothing. You didn't do anything to them, right? So if you significantly nerf a unit, but you leave their points the same, what have we done?
Yeah, you know what?
Right?
I have to call it. I listen to lots of content. One of my regular ones is square-based content, so I love Val and Rob's out there. Val especially. Shout out to my Canadian brother. He was talking about potential future comp. He's it's down the line. He's like, not yet, but maybe one day he gets to the point where, okay, Skaven aren't doing so good, so let's give them an extra 200 points. So if in a 2,000 point game they bring 2,200, and my mind just immediately went, why don't we just change their points?
Right.
Like, no, we're I get that that's what used to happen, but in the modern sense, let's adjust points.
Yeah.
Even if we're comping as a community, we can adjust points in a reasonable fashion. And it works out to be the
Well,
same, sure, that's fine, but hey.
Yeah. I want to speak to this for at length a little bit later into my opinion on some of this stuff, because I have strong opinions on this. I don't know if right now we want to keep doing
No,
that.
we'll go through. We'll save that for the end here, because it's gonna be longer. By the way, Neil, can you see, since we're using Google Meet for everyone listening at home, can you see or give me a warning if we need to pause and then restart the call?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's move on. I'll jump back in here. Goblin Hewers for the Arcane Journals of Dwarven Mountain Holds. Change the crew's wounds characteristics and attacks to 2. That's fine. That was just a misprint. So
Yeah.
Perfect. There's 2 crew, 2 wounds, 2 attacks. Perfect. Done. Move on.
All right. Yeah. Hide your goblin viewers, all you tens of people that have them.
You're gonna hide them on a hill because that's what you got to do.
Right. All right, page 37. We're looking at Arcane Journal, Kingdom of Bretonia.
Mm-hmm.
Guardian of the Sacred Sites. Change the third sentence of the second paragraph of the rule 2. It does not include magical vortexes, open ground, or hills, or any constructions such as walls or buildings. So, I have no idea what that's.
This is the Green Knight.
All right. Oh, that's the Green Knight.
This
rule.
is the Green Knight change. They went. It's a very. I get it. They're doing an exclusion is saying just exactly what it is. The Green Knight only comes out of woods.
Right. Just say it only comes out of woods.
Yeah. Green Knight comes out of woods. So therefore.
Why are we saying that?
Yeah. It's fine. He comes out of woods. The end. That's exactly what this is. Fine. That's what he should do. Fine. He could be oppressive if he didn't have any sort of magical attacks to hurt him because he's permanently ethereal. And if I look at
I will say it's at least in the list that I have run, it is very hard to defend against the Green Knight as an orc and goblin.
Oh,
your magical attacks are really only available on your characters. And if that guy stays away from your characters, which is sometimes pretty easy to do in this game, you're in trouble.
Yeah. So I mean, now I look at like my local clubs table. I have one table that's a forest and a second table that has a couple forests. Outside of that, it's gonna make people think twice about bringing the Green Knight. Like, I don't know if there's woods on this table. I can't guarantee that there's woods on every table. I'm gonna leave the Green Knight at home.
Right.
So hey, there we go.
Yeah. And then, well, as a player who's playing against somebody with the Green Knight, now I know, like, oh, well, I'm parking my guys with the magical attacks over here.
Exactly.
Right?
That's true. That's very true too.
So, okay, now I got a chance at the very least. My one guy with magical attacks.
Guess where the Sisters of Avalorn are going? In the woods.
Yeah. If there's woods here, they're going to go right in the middle.
Or even not even that. Park something that can't fight them in the woods that you don't care about. So he doesn't have space to get into the woods.
Yeah, fair enough.
Here's my bolt throwers. They're in woods. Okay. Anyway, next up, do you want to read the first of the Dwarven Mountain Holds?
Sure. All right. If the musician and or standard bearer in a unit of slayers are models that have been upgraded to giant slayers, what happens if they are slain? Is their instrument and or standard picked up by another giant slayer or by a troll slayer? Answer. It depends on the models that remain in the unit. If any giant slayers remain, they will pick up the instrument or standard, replacing the slain models like for like. If no giant slayers remain, a troll slayer will take their place. Note also that giant slayers are not unit champions. Thus, a unit of slayers, the standard bearer would be the last model removed in a unit of slayers.
Or since there's no champion, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I think it's like they have like that motley crew thing going on. I'm questioning anybody who's running a unit of slayers like that.
Yeah.
Like, are you doing okay? You having fun out there?
Can I? Here's.
I'll come back to us now.
It's unpopular opinion time. Okay.
Okay, bring it out. Bring it out. Come on, you got this.
Unpopular opinion time with Neil LaRocca. Here we go. Dwarves, 3-inch move. Why? It's been this way all of fantasy, and I propose why? Because they're short. Because I got a neighbor kid over here, half my size, and if you want me to try and catch him in a foot race, it's not even possible. Not even possible that I would catch this kid. Okay, and he is much shorter than I am. Okay, give these guys 4-inch moves so they can actually play the game. All right, please. You know.
Well, I said they do, but you have to pay the Bugman's tax.
Get out of here. You don't need any of that. Just give them the 4-inch move. Enough with this. Somebody made a mistake 30 years ago. Let's rectify it. Let's change it. 4-inch move.
I'm not against it. All right, back to the FAQ. I love it. All right, if a unit bearing a standard inscribed with the Master Rune of Hesitation falls back in good order and is pursued and caught by the enemy, does the rune take effect? Yes, when a pursuing unit catches an enemy, the unit fell back in good order, it counts as having charged that unit. So if you count as having charged in any way, shape, or form, you're going to get suffered by this. That is a buff. Granted, I don't know many dwarf units with this banner that are losing that combat, but it's nice to know that the dwarf gods are in your favor.
All right, let's do Arcane Journal. Dwarven Mountain Holds. Question: do runes inscribed upon a Doomseeker's whirling blades of death apply to impact hits? Yes. As stated under Whirlwind of Death, impact hits caused by a Doomseeker are resolved using the profile of their whirling blades of death, which include any runes weapon is inscribed with.
I just think that's neat. I don't care if that's overpowered. It's Doomseekers. Like, cool. They should have that. That makes 100% sense.
Yep.
All right, on to the Empire Man then. Before a steam tank charges, can it use the steam power special rule to increase how far it can move? No. And a lot of words explaining why. But no.
Yeah.
The end.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right, Kingdom of Bretonia. Can a character with a Shield of the Lady special rule retire to the rear of their unit after issuing a challenge, enabling them to avoid the opponent's attacks? No, you fools.
Yep.
Once a challenge has been issued and accepted, neither combatant can retire until the challenge is resolved. Chivalry demands it, obviously.
I'm going to shout out. Go back to us real quick. Shout out dear friend Mark. He was playing a game before Wrath. He was a practice game against some Chaos Warriors, and his one of his units of knights was pincered by 3 units, and one was a dragon. A challenge was issued. He's like, well, why do I have to accept it? It's crazy. And he was kind of walking through it, and I was just like, you have to accept it. I was reading the rules, but also it's like, Mark, there you go. Chivalry demands it. If you're watching this, Mark, you just don't ever refuse. Always be charging. Always be challenging. ABCs left and right. That's what it is about. I love you. You're a great human being, Mark.
Come on, yeah.
All right. Anyway, back to this. Okay. Next one from Bretonia. My army includes a character with the Gauntlet of the Duel, and I want to challenge them as a specific enemy character. Can an opponent choose a different model to accept the challenge? Yes. You issue a challenge, they choose who to accept or decline with. The end. That's how it works. Moving on.
Where are we at now? So we are down here. Question: is a charging lance blunted if an enemy unit countercharges it? No, both units are charging. The clause that a lance is blunted if if it is charged and does not countercharge is negated. Makes
Right.
sense.
If you're charging, not negated. Works. All right, this next one, shout out to whoever is a High Elf Realms fan and digging deep into that classic Matt Ward style of rules, which I love. Matt Ward's a hero of mine, personally. If you don't like that, get out. Don't at me. Does martial prowess special rule allow models to make supporting attacks with weapons that do not have the fight and extra rank special rule? Boy, would we love this, Neil, wouldn't we?
Would be nice.
If all of a sudden all the high elves, if they said yes here and they said, yeah, all the high elves get the second rank.
Whew.
But
Well,
no.
first of all, Big M would have a stroke.
Oh, he would. They would. He would. He'd burn something. I don't know what it would be. But no, you do not get that, which is good because that would absolutely ruin the game's combat mechanics for one army. And we become way too powerful, way too quick.
Yep.
There we go.
All right.
Last but not least, just the old world FAQ and errata. A little bit of a deeper document, but we'll get through it. I'll start here since I've looked at this one.
Here's a big one.
Yep, crunch. Change the second bullet point to if the path of a cannonball meets a hill, impassable terrain, or high linear obstacle, it stops immediately. No further models are hit. Now, crunch is specifically the bounce. So I've heard some people out there that didn't really read this fully, which is fine. That, oh, if you're on a hill, I can't shoot you with a cannon. Yes, you can. It just has to be a direct hit. Pretty much. Because crunch is the bounce. Crunch is not the shooting. Now,
Right. But in order to hit something, a lot of people hit on the bounce, right? So
it is. It gives a little bit more defensiveness for like war machines on a hill. If you're to be fair, if my cannon is shooting my archers on a hill, you're already wasting your shots.
right.
The only question I still have here with this, because I feel like this could be tightened up just a little bit further. So say I have a nice big block of 6 wide, 4 deep, and you hit directly on, like direct hit on that first rank unit guy, or even the second
Have you
rank.
hit the hill?
Well, it lands on it, so it's going to hit the unit, and it will hit the first. Like, let's say it hits second rank, direct hit on one of the guys in the second rank of my 4 rank deep unit. Make sense?
Uh-huh.
You with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I know exactly where you're going.
Those first 2 definitely take it. Do the other 2 take it? Because technically I'm on the unit, not on the hill.
Yeah.
Or in my mind,
Yeah.
that's how I would play it. As if I was a TO, that's how I'd play it. And then soon past that, it would stop because then it touches the hill.
Yeah.
Or does it stop immediately because the unit's on a hill?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know that this was like super necessary, but
Mm-mm.
and like cannons already outside of Empire cannons are not that big of an issue.
Right.
So like
Yeah. Truth be told, you know the unit. I think this is
hashtag let them bounce.
yeah. Hashtag let them bounce. There we go. Let's do it. Give that in the comments, everybody. Hashtag let them bounce. The unit that gets the biggest benefit from this is the Anvil of Doom. Because it's such a small thing. It's so
Just throw it on a hill and then like
put it
nobody
on a
can touch
hill. And then honestly, put it on a hill, move a unit up, I don't know, scouts or I guess gyrocopters could do it. To be 10 inches away from that thing and let it sit there for the entire game because they can't. They'd be screwed.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, hills already offer you such an advantage just by being on it in the first place. You'd like to have some way to cancel that advantage, and if that's with a cannonball shot that might do a wound, right?
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. Again, I don't know that this is maybe something that.
Well, at least you can still shoot over the hill. It's just you can't shoot through a hill. So sure.
Yeah,
I get it.
I don't know.
Berserker Blade here. I'll go through this real quick. It's actually the only one that's in blue in this entire book. I've never used this weapon, but essentially instead of giving you Frenzy, it gives you Impetuous plus an extra attack, so it can technically stack attacks a little bit better. But then you're Impetuous, so no one's going to take this 20.
I thought their last ruling on it was it gives you Frenzy.
Well, it gave you Frenzy, but if you have Frenzy, it's hard. Frenzies aren't going to stack attacks, whereas extra attacks plus 1 will let you stack more attacks upon it. But you get Impetuous, so therefore this 20-point magic item is probably never going to be used.
Yeah. Once you get impetuous, that's a
It's
ball game.
he-
Unless you take a berserker blade on an orc that also has that hat that cancels out impetuous.
well, there you go. Okay,
So,
there's the use case. We figured it out.
there you go. Ridiculous.
All right, you're up next. General
Here
principles.
we are. General principles. Question: if a specific natural roll triggers an effect, is that effect still triggered if the dice is re-rolled and the re-roll gives a different result? No. End of story.
Okay, moving on. Yeah, that's fine. I like our FAQs. We don't have to read everything. It makes sense.
Yeah, that's not a that's an easy one.
All right, magic. Casting the same enhancement or hex spells on a unit more than once has no further effect, but what about spells with range self that affect all units within a certain distance of the caster? This is the same person that asked about the expanding range thing. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Unless stated otherwise, such spells are not cumulative, and casting them multiple times has no further effect. Fine, makes sense. You're only getting one buff. Deal with it, everybody. If you wanted more buffs, you'd be an elf.
We are on to movement. Question: if a unit will have to wheel before and during the charge, do I have to allow for that while declaring and measuring the charge? Answer: yes. Wheeling during a charge is part of the charge move. The free wheel to a line once the contact is made is free. What I will say about this is I hate wheeling. Doesn't everybody?
Well,
Like, I always wonder if I'm doing it right.
we're no
Like,
one. Okay,
if I'm measuring my ruler from the opposite side, right?
I'm
doing
going.
the
I'm going
wheel.
back to us real quick, Neil.
All right.
We all have to understand. None of us are doing wheeling right, or we're
Correct.
doing wheeling in a way that we're all okay with it, because we're in movement trace.
Yeah.
Already from that point alone, we're not doing it right.
Right.
Anyway, but continue. You're right. You're right.
So, like, I don't know. Like, whatever. It is what it is. I think it's fine. I just sometimes, like, if I have to, like, if I'm looking at how am I going to maximize this move, and I'm like, okay, yes, I can make this charge. Then I get out my ruler, and I'm like, all right, well, I can make this charge if I roll. Like, now I'm like, okay, is it this? Like, am I sure that this is how I'm going to wheel, and this is how far it's going to go? I don't want to have to move my unit and then measure it, right? Like, I don't want to measure, move, and then like, find out, guess what? You failed the charge. Move it back, and now it's not in the right spot anyway. That's annoying to me.
To be
So,
fair,
I
I think most of us were doing this anyway, and a lot. Like, I have not encountered a single person playing this game yet that was being super stickler about it. Like, every single game I played, like, I rolled it. People look at the dice, look at the thing. I'm like, yeah, you're fine. Get on in there. Let's have some fun. Like, I guess as the game grows,
to be
maybe.
fair, though, neither one of us have played at like a major tournament or anything like
True,
that.
but
Like,
even from the stories I
think
hear
when
from them, it's not about that.
Yeah.
Maybe when we get to the highest level, when this game grows and all that sort of stuff, we'll get there. But for right now, this is fine.
The thing is I think that one of the things that helped to slow the progression of old fantasy was people doing movement minutia,
Sure.
right? Like, nobody could ever move the right way. Oh, you go to an event. That's not how you move. That's not, Oh, that's a fraction of a quarter of an inch back.
Right.
And this, and that. Oh no, you missed that charge by that 1/16 of an inch. Like, that's the kind of shit that I think, like, if it was me going to a tournament first and then I had to put up with that kind of stuff, I'm like, thanks guys, but I won't be back.
Right.
Like,
but there's also a thing to say, like, with a ruling like this for like an FAQ, that it being as loose as it is will kind of keep a leash on things from becoming hyper competitive. Because if we like, I still don't know exactly what to do with wheeling. None of us do. If they laid it out in a perfect, clear way, then we would get into that minutia to the point of nauseum.
Yeah.
So there's a nice little. We're growing. We don't need to grow too quick. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. I see where you're going there.
Gotcha.
All right, you're up next.
Combat. All right. Models that are in base contact with different enemy units can choose which to attack. When is this decision made? At the start of combat or in model's turn to fight? At initiative, people. This is an initiative-based game. You decide what's going on when they fight. At initiative. Moving on.
Question: my unit charges an enemy unit that is defending a low. Here it is. A low
Yeah.
linear obstacle, making base contact with the obstacle rather than the unit. Can my unit make impact hits or stomp attacks? No. Models must be in base contact with the enemy to make impact hits or stomp attacks.
Coming back to
This
us
is
real
like-
quick. So I've heard an argument based upon how it works if you're defending that low linear obstacle that becomes your new base footprint. I think that is shenanigans. Does that make sense to you?
I mean, I think that's shenanigans as well. I also, if you're
Fair,
defending
fair.
if you're defending a rose bush and you're telling me the dragon can't stop the guy behind the rose bush, and I just like that's. I mean, some shrubbery is technically a low linear obstacle if you have it there, right? So I get why people are just like lose a little bit of immersion with this. Like really. I mean, we can stomp these major I don't know, ogres, right? That are, but we can't stop the bush that's in front of them, right? So over top of that, I get why that's frustrating, but
it's
whatever.
Now
I guess it makes the game a little more strategic with where you put your guys, but then you just gotta hope that you're sitting there and like. I've never understood defending one of these things anyway.
Yeah,
Like,
I've
what
just
are you
never
doing?
done it. I've never done it. My table over here has a bunch of them. I never thought about it.
I want to keep my unit parked and not move it? Like, really? Like, no, I want it to be where I need it to be, not just parked, like waiting to be shot at, like.
That's
I don't
fair.
know.
I think there's other things too. Like there's the spells you can cast that give you essentially as if you had a low linear obstacle. So like how does that work then? Very different things because like then you're touching the model and because there's no actual physical low linear obstacle. So I think this one could use a little more clarification. I don't care which way it goes. In all honesty, I don't care. If I don't get to stomp you, sure, whatever. My stomps don't have much anyway.
Right.
But I think this could have used a few more sentences, like you said prior. This could go a little bit deeper to clarify a few more things for us.
What if my base can slide under the fence and touch those models?
What if I have enough movement to go over the fence?
Are we good, then? Like, are we good? Are we in?
To me, if you have enough movement to go over the fence, you put yourself on top of that fence and you're touching me, I would allow it.
Yeah. Why not? I don't know.
Let's see.
All right, I know this is a big one with people, and
well, it's a big one because they're just trying to tear it apart. That's why, like, give us a few more words. Errata this again.
Right.
Give us a second go, please.
Yeah, it's still not my favorite one.
No, okay.
Still not my favorite. All right, you're up.
All right, we're into combat. We've been in combat. Challenges specifically. Is overkill counted against or against champions in a challenge, or does it only count for characters? Overkill counts in all challenges. Moving on.
Yeah. All right, question. This is a good one. If a model has armor bane X listed among its special rules, i.e., if the model has a special rule itself rather than the weapon it carries it having the special rule, does it apply to impact hits or stomp attacks? Yes. So they have a special rule. It applies to the entire model.
I love it because I was not playing it this way. I like this change. I like this correction, I should say. Plus, it'd be funny if they said no, because then it would maybe change the dwarf FAQ we just saw.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, if a unit is charged by 2 or more enemies, units countercharges one of them. It may end its movement presenting a different arc to the other charging unit. Does this resolve their charges against those arcs? Yes. Countercharging moves first, then the charges move. So if you countercharge 3 inches and you get closer and all of a sudden into your flank, guess what? You're hitting the flank. Makes sense.
All right. Question. If a unit, I'm reading the wrong one. If a unit whose troop type is infantry has been joined by a character whose troop type is cavalry, charges an enemy unit with the countercharge special rule, can that unit countercharge? No. A unit's troop type does not change when joined by a character. One of the things that kind of bugs me is the fact that you
people that ask this question.
Well, yeah, but also like one of the things I don't like about the game here, and this may just be a Neil thing, is I don't like the visual optics of placing anything in a unit that doesn't have the exact same base size as that unit. It bothers me. It doesn't look right. I don't like a horse in the middle of a unit of spearmen. It looks jank. That is maybe just my unpopular opinion. I hate it. Go away.
I don't think it's unpopular because I don't see anyone doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a few edge cases where it's good, but I think I'm with you on this. All right, how far does a model with a random movement special rule move when making a countercharge? It moves a countercharge, D3+1. Doesn't get any extra bonuses. Nice try.
There it is.
Nice try,
Yeah.
you goblin players out there with your squigs. But no.
They do not have. So this is if they have countercharge. Squigs do not have countercharge.
Oh, okay.
It's just some spawn, giant spawn or something in chaos.
Oh, that's what has it. Okay.
One unit that this applies to. But...
Yeah, countercharge dictates how far you move. Not it doesn't say you get to move a normal movement. So.
Right. All right. Question: War beasts and swarms fear models with the flaming attack special rule. This is actually a gem here. Do war beasts and swarms have the immune to psychology special rule? Fear models that have the flaming attack special rule? Yes. All right. So they are immune to psychology, or they aren't. Like, what's happening?
They're immune to psychology unless you're flaming, which is a rule that not many units have, and no one takes that banner because it's not magical attacks.
That's not a rule. Like,
yeah.
It clearly, the special rule says immune to psychology, right? And we're talking about like a swarm of rats here, not super intelligent, right? You know,
like
I guess they can drive cars. I see them drive cars.
Like,
so,
I get it. I get it. If you play any video game, like the swarms are always afraid of the fire. Like, I get that, but it's just like it is weird. But like also, you could have just given swarms a different rule that says they are immune to everything but fear or fire. I guess I don't know. But anyway, that's fine.
Yeah,
we know how to do it. It's just silly.
Yeah.
All right. If some models in a unit cause fear but others do not, do I use the unit strength of the whole unit or just that of the models that cause fear to determine if any enemy unit has a lower unit strength? Count only the unit strength of the models that cause fear. Sure. I don't know. I've never run a unit that causes half fear. I don't know what this even means. I don't know what army this belongs to.
I mean,
sure.
it's good to know this, you know, because I probably wouldn't even thought about it and just had the whole unit, like counted up the whole unit. Always playing.
I guess,
you know,
but I whatever. Like I don't see where this is happening. I'm moving on. Like I hate this one. I hate it because it feels stupid to talk about. That's not because it's not useful.
Yeah. What happens if a unit with the move through cover special rule is joined by a character without it? Units move through at the speed of their slowest model. Therefore, whilst the unit would suffer no penalty for moving through difficult or dangerous terrain, the character would potentially reducing how far the entire unit can move.
Which is fine. I mean, listen, that's why I bring the Banner of Valyrian, so I just get that on the unit because that's what it says.
Yep.
All right. Oh, there is another blue here. Sorry, I missed that. There's a couple, actually. There's the one on the next page, too, I see. Is the armor value of a regeneration save improved by a shield, barding, or magic item that improves armor? Unless specifically said, no. Okay, easy. Little clarification. No problem. Makes sense. You clarified it with wards, clarify it with regen too. Thank you.
Yeah. Can a model make a regeneration save when it loses a wound? For example, if a model loses a wound due to being unstable, can I attempt to make a save? Answer: no. If a rule states that wounds are lost, the affected model has suffered one or more unsaved wounds as described on page 102, meaning one or more wounds are lost from its profile. So you're dead. You're dead, son. No matter what. That's the old AOS Alariel into the river, roll a 1, she dead. Remember that?
Yep, I do. All right. Oops, sorry, doing something here. Boop, boop, boop. Whoop. Oh, sorry. You want to take the next one for me, Neil? I'm hitting some buttons on something else that I'm doing. Yep. I apologize.
Question: are units deploy using Scout's special rule counted when determining which player finished deploying their army first? Yes. Count them.
Okay, that's good. I don't think many. I know we haven't been within our group, but now you do, and that doesn't bother me. It's clarification.
If you have scouts and somebody else doesn't, and you deploy them as scouts, you have lost.
I'll take that. Right. When a unit has succumbed to stupidity moves, how far must it move? As far as the controlling playing wishes. Essentially what this means is when you roll that dice or whenever you have to make that move, you could choose not to move with stupidity, which sometimes might be the smart option. So you don't have to move.
This is actually my favorite one.
Okay.
This is my favorite one. So as far as its controlling player wishes.
Oh, I guess it doesn't say within
How far would you like to move it, Chuck? Would you like those trolls to go 24 inches? Because they can now.
Oh, I'm gonna go 48 inches. We're going to the edge of the board, baby.
Yeah, they certainly can.
You're right.
It's ruling.
You're right. You're right. That needs a little bit more of an FAQ, I guess. Someone's gonna
You know
try
what?
that.
I have attempted to write rules for many different versions of nonsense that I've done over and this is one of those ones where like you write it and somebody like my ass or somebody else sees this and just tears it to pieces and you're just like, god damn it.
I am going to play Dark Elves at the next chance I get. I'm gonna bring cold ones. I'm gonna wait to fail my movement, and I'm gonna just push them into combat. Like boom.
Yeah, well, now they still can't move into combat because they're stupid. However,
You're
you
right.
couldn't move them 1 inch in front of whatever offending unit you want to be in combat with, and then they can't move anyway.
I'm gonna do 4 inches and countercharge.
There you go.
All right. Anyway, Ooh, I just hit buttons. Bad buttons. When I move a unit that has succumbed to stupidity, can I move it into contact with base? Okay, so no. So as you just said, cannot do that. So you're right. You're right.
Yep. All right. Question: when do you declare that you are using Swift Stride? A. Before making a charge, flee, or pursuit roll.
So
you get to declare that you are using it.
So this is interesting because I know very few cases when you don't want to use Swift Stride.
Right.
So everybody I think has always just assumed it's being used.
Yeah. I think the one case where you would not want to use Swift Stride is if you are fleeing and you do not want to flee off the table edge. You would not want to use Swift Stride.
That's the only case. So interesting. Good clarification. It just means most people are going to always assume you're using Swift Stride.
Yeah.
Except in that one case potentially. So
I usually just roll 2 dice, take the highest, then roll another one. Yep. I don't even like declare that I'm using it. I'm like,
I'm moving as far as I can, sir. Thank you.
Right.
All right, we got another blue coming up here. If a character without the Vanguard special rule joins a unit during deployment, can the character make a Vanguard move? No. I'm not reading the rest.
Right. Yep. There's a whole bunch of hibbity about like skirmishing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just just don't.
Because also, I kept screwing this up. An individual character, not in a unit, does not have skirmish, but they can join a skirmish unit. But they don't have skirmish without it. But you put them next to another unit nearby. Yeah. Just got to read the rules a little clearer. It's easy. Like I've been playing the game for a year. I still had some things wrong, so it's always good sometimes to refresh yourself on some of the basic rules for the things you're doing that might be quote unquote shenanigans.
We've so this next one, we've come to the first one where, well, maybe not the first one, but one that I'm just going to completely ignore. I think this is the most nonsense I've ever heard in my entire life. I can't even fathom that this was the ruling. How does a unit of skirmishers form up when charged by 2 or more different enemy units from either directions? Actually, this is the next one. I'm going to read both of them. Sure. Answer: the skirmishers should form up against the first charging unit to move into contact with them. The remaining enemy units charge the formed skirmishers. If any units are unable to complete their charge moves, their charges are failed. Question. Now here it is.
Okay, well, real quick, just real quick before you get into that, because I know it's going to open up a can of worms we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
The way that works in that first one is if someone comes up to you, you match up as many models that can actually touch that unit. So you can do corner to corner. After that is when you start building ranks. It's a little bit wonky. I get people's confusion on that. It's not hard to do. So anyway, now for the worms you want to open up, because I'm gonna fight back with you on this.
Okay, I've had a case where I've had a large skirmishing unit locked in combat, and I'm whittling down the enemy unit to the point that there's not very many of them left. Mm-hmm. However, I have not been able to. They did not flee, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but they did have to fall back in good order. And now there's I think there was 2 of them left. Okay, right? So they move back, they fall back in good order, right? They reform. I follow up, right? And now I have a unit of 20 skirmishers, right?
Yep.
So now I have 4 guys, and then I got to put all the rest of their asses behind them.
Oh yeah, sure.
That's the dumbest shit.
I am not going to say that skirmisher is a bad rule. If skirmishers said I'm -1 to hit and -1 to be shot, that would be a better rule if I was still in ranks.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm not going to argue that.
It's just like what like this like the how it's moving around. Like just once you're in combat, just keep whatever you're now in this ranked up thing, and now that's what you are. Okay, until
Yeah.
the end until you are clearly out of combat, and now you move and reform right into the skirmish formation. Right?
Skirmish is not my favorite rule, even though I abuse it. It's not the most
Yeah.
impressive rule. I'm not gonna say it's gonna overtake anything, but when you're like, hey, these units play Age of Sigmar, the rest play Warhammer Fantasy,
Right.
it causes way too many edge cases, I feel. But anyway, open up the
Yes.
can of worms. I'll
All
argue
right.
against you on this for one very specific reason, but we're gonna go.
Do skirmishers have flank or rear arcs while engaged in combat? No. Why? They're lined up.
But they
Why?
have 360 arc.
Who cares? Not anymore. They don't.
So
They're
they-
locked in combat just like anybody else.
you've never seen a phalanx of pikemen
I sure have.
form the turtle shell where they're all sticking out?
Uh-huh.
Here's why this isn't like. At first, I was like, "Oh my god, this changes everything." My Sisters of Avalorn are going to be absolutely amazing. And then I realized Sisters of Avalorn are on a fucking 6-up. Skirmishers
Well,
have no armor.
I get it. I get it. I get that it's like to the combat, it's not going to make a lot of difference.
It's not.
The point is now you're in ranks and files, but you're telling me you're not in ranks and files as far as the purposes of the game, which is confusing.
Okay, so what's the bonus of this? Certain units may have a weapon that gives them extra fighting ranks, so you might get 1 or 2 extra tanks on the flanks or rears. Most people, the problem you and I have. I'm gonna come back to us here. The problem you and I have is we have Sisters of Avalorn, which can become core. So we run 20 of them to fulfill our core. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Most armies don't have something like that. Some do. Like, I think Chaos Warriors could do it. But, like, we have, I think, the best skirmishing unit in the game.
Uh-huh.
Maybe even 2. Like, I think Illyrian Reavers are good, but you just have to use them properly. I think that's the biggest issue, which is why you and I go, oh my god, this is amazing. But they still die in droves. Like, I don't want
here's the thing too. I'm engaged to my front, right? All right. You've got 2 units on either side. You want to charge in. You're set up for a flank charge. I don't have a flank. How can you charge?
So here's the thing: you can still charge the unit,
but there's no flank to line up to.
You're lining up to the ranks. It's just I have a front fighting rank. I have multiple front fighting ranks now. Here's what it is. Like I've thought through this because I was where you were at when this came out, literally the day it came out, which is why I'm glad we didn't do this the day it came out. So yes, will I get 1 or 2 extra attacks, maybe 3, based upon my unit size, because I have multiple sides and everything? Sure. It's not going to be enough to swing a combat. Likewise, the biggest benefit to this means you don't get +1 or +2 if you charge me in what would be my rear or what would be my flank. Essentially, it's negating that. That's the only thing this is doing. And chances are, if you charge me with multiple units, you're crushing whatever unit I have there because I don't have armor.
Right.
I have a 6-up, maybe a 5-up ward if I get my Shield of Safri off. I think in the long and short of this, it's not going to affect the games that much. It just means we have to remember, hey, you don't get that combat resolve. So maybe I can survive 1 round of combat. That's the buff it gets the skirmishers right now.
I think, for the most part, no, right? But the way I'm going to run my Sisters of Avalorn is there's going to be a wizard in there, and they're going to be all ethereal, right?
Oh, so yeah, I do that. I do that too. I've put all 3 of my heroes in there.
What I'm telling you now is that you can't charge them in the rear and even get the combat bonus.
Right. Yeah. If you want to try and combat res me out, you can't because I'm as a high elf with sisters.
You can't even do that.
I'm ethereal. I have a high maiden in there who probably has a sword of might. Not to mention my BSB personally for me is in there. So guess what? 2 swords of might swinging at you, and the whole unit gets to swing first except for the mage, which I don't care about anyway.
Yeah.
I know. The problem you and I have is Sisters of Avalorn are very, very good. So we think this is way too awful for the opponent. I don't think it's going to be because also, like I said, if we get charged by multiple units, outside of the ethereal going off, we will die.
Huh.
So I want to say, like, rein it in a little bit. I understand where you're at. Give it a couple more days thought, a couple games. You'll be like, okay, it's not
Yeah.
the worst thing in the world. But where
I
you're at
just-
right now, you got to express it. You got to get it out there. I understand.
Yeah,
I was doing it too.
I feel like it's just so unclean.
That's fair.
It's just not clean. Like the whole skirmisher thing's not clean anyway, right?
The
For
skirmisher
game,
thing
but-
is a whole different subject.
Yeah, it literally could have its own rule book.
Right.
And probably should.
It probably should.
So,
All right. Anyway,
but go ahead.
our next blue characters. If a unit is subject to any leadership modifier, uses the General's Inspiring Presence rule, or any other rule that allows a unit to use the leadership of a nearby character, does the unit ignore these modifiers? No, the modifiers still apply. So essentially, if you're using your Inspiring Presence, it's minus that leadership. It's minus to whatever leadership you're using, period. Makes sense? Fine. Good cleanup.
All right. A clumsy unit cannot be joined by a character that is not also clumsy. But can a clumsy character join a unit that is not clumsy? Yes.
Neat. Okay. I like
Yep.
it. Simple. Majority rules.
Mhm.
Does a unit that joined by a character of a different troop type gain the rules associated by the character's troop type? As you've seen by every other ruling so far, no.
All right. Ooh, we're all the way down just one on this page here.
Yeah.
Question: is the armor value of a ward save improved by a shield, barding, or a magic item that improves armor? Answer: unless the item specifically states ward saves are improved, no.
What I like about this is there's nothing, I think, in the game right now that does improve ward saves or regen saves, really. But they could.
Thank God.
But they could.
Thank God, no.
Yeah, thank God, no. All right. Next up, Lures of Magic. How does the Spectral Doppelganger spell interact with weapons that have either Strike First or Strike Last special rule? Oh, I should put it on screen for everybody. The spell is cast at the wizard's initiative, meaning attacks generated by the spell. Okay, so you're not getting a strikes first, strikes last. You're swinging with that weapon essentially at your initiative, which could be really good if it's a strike last. Could be really bad if it's a strike first. Some give and take.
Okay. Magic items. Bearing 2 or more obsidian lodestones gives better magic resistance, but does an obsidian lodestone improve magic resistance granted by a different source? No.
All right. Does a magic standard that affects units' weapons, the Razor standard, for example, also make those weapons magical, giving them magical attack special rule? Essentially, no, and I disagree. I think if the banner is gifting a bonus to the unit and it's a magic banner, it should be magic attacks. That's
Right.
my thought. I don't know how to stand otherwise other
Yeah,
than that. That's a
Because
hill.
why else would it be doing it, right?
Yeah.
So-
I will die upon this hill,
Right.
but I disagree
You
with that.
literally
rule.
have a wavy banner that's just waving in the air, and somehow it's making your sword sharper. Well, how's that happening?
Which is why whenever I did Terathi, I'm like, flaming attacks is magical again with that banner. Just that banner.
Yeah.
But I disagree with that ruling because it's not fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on.
All right. If a wizard wears the wizarding hat, does it increase their level of wizardry? No. But yeah, if you have somebody who's not a wizard, that's what it's for. Okay.
Yep. That's fair. All right, this is a bigger one. Can a wizard with a lore familiar choose one of the faction's signature spells instead of the signature spells of the chosen lore? No. So if you're going to take a lore familiar, which I often did, we're going to go back.
And I have not been playing it this way, by the way.
None of us have. Like, I was okay. I have lore familiar. I'll take these 3 spells. Do I
And
want
the
the
signature
signature?
spell.
No, I don't want the high magic signature. I want Courage of Venarian. I'll take that
Yeah.
instead.
Yeah.
That's
Saffron.
gone.
Uh-huh.
And that's fine. Because that's a slight nerf from lore familiar to make me go, maybe I'll use
Yeah.
those points elsewhere. And that's
Yeah.
perfect. Because
I think it's great.
maybe there's times where I want to. Still.
Great. So now you have a choice to make, and I'm all for choices, right? I'm all for
Yes.
things that have a negative to them, right? Not something that just doesn't give you everything, right? And becomes an auto pick, right? Pick something else if you don't like it, all right? Which is great.
Yep.
Now you just got to change your list a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm excited to play with lists now, honestly.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that your guy isn't as completely predictable as you'd like him to be. You
Yeah,
know?
it's still good.
Right.
All right, last one's yours, Neil. It's a blue one.
All right. Question: some models can be found in one faction's army list, but can be included in an army made using a composition list belonging to a different faction, Dragon Ogre Shaggoths, or units that can be included as mercenaries, for example. What list of magic items do such models have access to? Answer: models can purchase magic items from the list of common magic items in the Warhammer: The Old World rulebook, or from their own faction's list of magic items. A Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, for example, can purchase items from the common or Beastman Brayherd's magic lists.
Perfect. I think they've mentioned this multiple times, but they never clarified it universally.
Mhm.
Fine with it. Doesn't bother me at all.
There we go.
So there we go. FAQ is done and dusted. Neil, how's it looking on time for our little chat here? Should we
I haven't
pause?
got any kind of prompt or anything like
Okay,
that, so
all
I
right,
think
we're
we're
good.
doing all right.
All right.
So,
That said, good FAQ. I don't hate it. A few things I disagree with, but it's more on principle than disagreeing with rules writing, I guess.
yeah,
However,
yeah.
Neil, how are you feeling about the state of the game in general right now with this FAQ, with the way things are at? Take your high elf glasses off. Take those rose-colored glasses off that we both have about how beautiful this game is because that army exists for our lives.
I'm gonna not just take off my high elf rosy glasses. I'm gonna take off my I've been playing Warhammer forever glasses.
Okay, I'm gonna put
And
my
I'm
glasses
gonna
back on, by the way, because I can't see otherwise.
and it's like I look at my friend Carl, who has played Warhammer itself, 40K, Age of Sigmar, things like that for a long time, right? Has not played fantasy. Some of these rules are driving this man bonkers. Like he plays it because I make him play it. That's why he plays it, right?
Yeah, fair.
Some of these rules are really like I don't know. I'm at a point now with this game. You know, when we first started talking about Age of Sigmar, and I remember we had an episode on what makes a good tournament, and we talked about some of the different tournaments. We talked about Nova and how Nova was imposing a whole lot of comp really early on,
Yep.
and I don't believe either one of us were for that
No, not
because of
not
how
not in the current not that early on in the state of the game.
yes. And now that I think that we're a year in, and we've seen some things, and we kind of have a feel for how this is playing, at least in a local, in a local group setting, I am absolutely ready to start imposing some comp on the game. I don't want to. Okay, I don't want to have to. But there's some things that I feel like like. I would love to see tweaked. I don't want to have to wait 2 more years to do that. Like
Right.
I don't want to like I
See,
know it's a small team that's
doing a great job. Doing it like to be fair, this
they're doing yeoman's work,
yeah.
for as small as they are, right? But I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I
love this
feel
game.
like
I love this game, but we're gonna say it's just like Age of Sigmar. I love this game. I got notes.
and if it's doing as well as they're saying it's doing and it's overperforming, please give them some resources to push some of this stuff out. We need we need comprehensive changes just like Sigmar, 1 year every 6 months kind of thing to
Well,
points
I'd have
costs.
to
I
look.
think
These might be 6-month changes for these FAQs, but like you're right, it's not as full
there's
feature
so
rich.
little.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they're very little changes, or sometimes they're big changes, like this rule of cannonballs and hills, right? Like
true.
there's things that are changing the game, and there's things that are changing units, right? But then we're not fixing the point costs. We're not taking a look at it overall,
Or
right?
there could be a better blend of the old and new style of
Yeah,
adjusting a game.
we have to really look at the way we have to look at the way we're fixing the game, right?
Yeah,
And keeping the game current and patching it essentially.
yeah.
This is what you're doing. You're patching the game. So patch it comprehensively, right? And if you're not going to do that, then you know, give
I
me a 1.5 version, or give me a new edition
I
earlier than
I
3 years.
I
Please.
will say this. I do like it can be frustrating at times, but if I look at 40K, which I follow 40K, I follow Sigmar, I follow Old World. I play 40K the least. but they're much more progressive in their ability to change things based upon events. Sigmar is much more conservative, Old World even more so. I'd rather the conservative stay during these changes. Like, if there's one thing that's sort of a problem and you want to wait a little bit longer, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
For instance, in this case, fixing that Wood Elf list, that was a good change.
Right.
That needed to happen. Other things, maybe like the cannonball thing on the hill, maybe didn't need to do that right away. What was the reason for that? So maybe that's a little less conservative. So,
do I want to run into 4 Empire Great Cannons and 4 Hellblasters? No, I don't want to play against that, but I'm gonna. Right? I know Cole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cole's gonna walk up. Cole's gonna come over to your house. Hey, here's
Yeah.
the table. Why is your side just one giant hill and my side's empty? I don't know. It's weird.
If you got 4 Hellblasters, you don't need a hill. All right.
That's true. That's true.
you don't need, you just point them at 4 different things and watch it go away over 2 turns as it tries to get closer.
That's said.
You know, like there's things like that where like I'd like to see infantry get a little boost. So we start to see
that everybody's agreeing to that.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm more excited for the Arcane Journal for High Elves, because there's no cavalry based list in there. Both of those are infantry. Are you going to boost infantry in an interesting way for my army?
Right.
That said,
and if you don't, then you just gave us an Arcane Journal that's kind of useless.
Right. Exactly. And to be fair, my biggest gripe right now, as much as I do it, please remove core maybes.
Yeah.
Core is core. I'm okay buying core. When I built this army for what I had, that's why I have Lothar and Seaguard and Larian Reavers. Yeah. They're core. The fact that I can run my Sisters of Avalorn as core is stupid.
Right.
Core needs to be core. Non-core needs to be not core. Honestly, if you said, hey, Sisters of Avalorn are rare, but if you take this character, they become special for 1 unit, so I could double up on them for a rare slot and a special
slot. Max size.
Right,
with a max size.
Well, I mean, if you're playing in rare and special, you're kind of capped already. So, like, core, you're not. Core, you can go max out. I could run a whole unit of 1 general with Sisters of Avalorn. But if you play in special and rare, you're already pre-capped, which is fine and perfect. The one thing I don't want is I don't want them to be like, hey, if you take Core Hill, all of a sudden your White Lions, you can have 1 unit that's all core. Okay, so then I have a whole army of White Lions. Like, get fucked. Like, that's going to be awful to play against.
All right, well, it depends if they're getting charged by massive units of cavalry and never actually getting the swing.
Well, fair. That's true.
But, I don't know. Like, I don't want to lose the ability to make an interesting list.
Yes,
but what I want to do is I want to put constraints upon it. Okay? All right, so don't let me take 40 sisters in 1 unit. Let me do that.
You take a
unit,
them on a hill. If you take a unit 10 in their core, sure, that's very different from their core.
That's hugely different, right? Like, that's acceptable different, right? Mm-hmm. And now I get to have a little bit extra flavor. I get to run a few extra sisters, which I want to do. It makes my army look a little cooler,
You're like Avalorn themed, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So, but we have to explore those kind of changes, right? And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about comp.
You're not talking about like what I did for Tarathi, where I changed the magic system to be a dice pool again.
But I'm also talking. I'm also talking about stuff like I can go that far. Okay. I'm okay with going that far as well.
To be fair, like that's a rules rewrite. But also, I will say this: not changing anything about magic other than a few small things I did in Tarathi. The local club, the Barn Owls. That's just probably how we're going to do magic now. You roll the dice at the beginning, and your fated dice max is 3. It's great. It works wonderful. Otherwise, it's a perfect blend, and it makes it more exciting.
It's a local club level. Nobody's asking somebody to do a whole Warhammer's Armies project on this stuff and get things going nuts and start coming up with our own points values and stuff like that.
True.
Which, if you want to do it, fine. And if your local area wants to play it, awesome. Because at the local area, I think you can do whatever the hell you want.
Oh yeah, the Warhammer police aren't coming for you, especially the old world. They just want you playing. Buy the models. Have a great time.
Yeah. Fix this stuff. And another big one for me, right? They were saying on Square Based, and I love this actually. It's like, how much is that 2+, 5+, 5+ Chaos Dragon actually worth in points? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
right? Like how much? Like I know what its points cost actually like is, but how much is it actually worth?
Especially
Like
if it
on the
starts
game,
when it starts getting
like
Eye of the Gods and gets a higher weapon skill, gets tougher, gets
yeah, it's and we're out of control. Like for me too,
the game.
I
And wait, you say out of control. The game's not out of hand yet. We're
there
still
are
we're,
some things that push it in that direction.
right, but we're
I
not
think.
there yet. But we're close enough that we're alarmed.
Right. So like, but for me, like, so if we go look at older editions, right? Eighth edition, I generally loved. There's one thing I hated about eighth edition, right? And that was the split profiles between the monsters and the characters, and the fact that you could shoot one cannonball at my griffin that I love, that looks awesome, that I modeled up. It's my centerpiece of my army, and boom, as soon as it rears its head on the battlefield, it's dead. All right. I hate that,
Yeah,
which is why, and I love it much more in Old World, the way we have a single profile for it and everything. But the problem comes in as soon as you start stacking multiple ward saves. And let me just tell you too, from playing enough Sigmar and other Warhammer in my lifetime, anytime you get multiple ward saves, it's been a problem. Anytime.
yeah.
When we were talking about Daughters of Cain, when they were like 5 up, 6 up, 6 up, 6 up, or something like that, it was nonsense, right? Like,
To be fair, I think you should not be able to stack ward saves with regen saves.
no, that's exactly what the change I would make.
Yep.
You pick one or the other, right? You can have one or the other. And so you're still, and then that becomes a manageable unit at that point. It's probably not getting killed by one cannonball,
Right.
right?
Well, nothing is right now, so.
It's got some survivability, but it's also not just going to, just literally you have to spend like your entire 2,000 point army into killing this 350 point or 450 point dragon, which is worth a whole lot more than that because it just won't die.
Yeah. No,
So these
fair.
little things, I want to make little tweaks in the games that I play just to make the enjoyment of the game a little bit more,
Well,
right?
then Neil, maybe you and I, obviously not on the show, but we'll present it on the show. Maybe you and I should figure out and write the Strength Hammer Old World comp pack.
I love it.
Now I say that Neil and I feel zero obligation to enforce this. This would be what we would do for our own local clubs. We would
Right.
in no way do we say this is how the game should be played. This is just how our local meta plays the game and how it plays into us having more enjoyment out of it. So
Absolutely.
we're not going to try and say we're the smartest ones out there and this is how we should do it. We're not running events that are for anybody. We would do this because it'd be fun. So little caveat there, but maybe that's something you and I should do, Neil. That'd be a fun little side project and we can put it out here.
I think that would be amazing. Get Big M involved in this too, because he wants to.
No, too many cooks. Matt's a big
Yeah,
cook.
that's true. That's true.
No,
That's a
no,
can
no,
of
no,
worms.
no, 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 no.
That's a can
Matt,
of worms.
I love Matt to death. Matt is.
When he hears this, he's going to be harumphing.
He's gonna be harumphing, but he's also gonna understand why I will tell him no. Matt, if you want to make a specific dwarf arcane journal that gives you a +1 move and fixes a few dwarf issues, all for it. Bring it on.
Yeah,
I will play that anytime.
Matt, I'm giving your dwarves a 4-inch move. Okay, I'm giving it to him. All right.
Oh boy. Okay. That's fair. There's problems with every game system. The one thing I will say right now with Old World specific, because it's such a new, it's barely over a year old. We're barely through every army essentially. The community is structured itself in such a way that I think a lot of these issues are kind of non-issues. Like if you and I had a comp pack for our local scene and someone came from outside that, be like, hey, by the way, this is how we play. They'd be like, all right, cool. Let's adjust. I think a lot of like the nuanced stuff that's even being corrected is stuff we were doing anyway as a community for Old World. Not to mention, even though it's the old grognards in this community mostly, which is fine, they're more enjoying the game and less concerned about using rules to beat you, as in like 40k or Sigmar at the highest levels.
Yeah.
So I think we're still in a good place, but you're right. As we grow, it's kind of like, as we grow, you need to acknowledge and treat the game that's fitting what the breadth of what it is. We're not there yet. but we could be there soon. Especially if we get Grand Cathay.
Yeah. Yes.
Because there'll be a lot of people be like, oh, hell yeah, let's go.
By the way, if we do get Cathay, which is super interesting to me, but not nearly as interesting as Kislev to me,
Sure.
that means that we're probably getting Kislev at
Oh,
some
yeah, we're
point.
going to get Kislev.
And
We are. It's just a matter of time.
it's too easy, dude. You got guys on bears.
Yeah.
They're going to model that. You telling me they're not going to model that? Let's do it.
You give me a badass Ice Queen, just rocking a just like in the trailer, just rocking up like, oh, you're a bloodthirster. Yeah, let's get Benton, buddy. Let's just fuck you up. I'm like, oh hell yeah, I'm buying that. Like, okay, if you release a brand new army for Old World, I'm probably gonna buy it. That's all I'm saying. And I think most people are like me. I'm probably gonna buy it.
I think you're probably. I don't know. If I'm trying to be realistic, I'd probably say 25% of all fantasy players would probably buy that army or some portion of it, right?
Listen,
I'm buying into it at some level, at least 25%.
The reason I have a Lizardman army right here is because I want to do an Old World army. I don't need more High Elves. I will buy more High Elves when they're available here in a month or so when that comes out, but I don't need them. But it's fun and exciting to start a new Old World army because like I went through it with Sigmar. That's why I have almost every Order army.
Right.
I'll probably do something similar for Old World where I'm like, I have the dwarf, I have all the elves. Okay, Empire doesn't excite me, but Lizardmen do. A non-Empire human army would be very exciting. So Cathay, I'm in.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
All right. Well,
so exciting stuff on the horizon. I don't want to poo-poo things too much. I hope people aren't seeing this as a poo-poo type thing.
No, it's not a poo-poo. This is we love it, and it's in such a good place. Let's make sure that we put our voices forward in a positive manner to direct it in a manner that we all want.
Yeah, because this is still my favorite Warhammer game right now.
Yes, this is more exciting than Sigmar. I'm not gonna lie.
It is for me.
I still enjoy Sigmar. I like Old World. I play Old World more than I play Sigmar. That said, I am a little bit bummed. I have to shout out. I'm not sure if you get on you might be able to get on the wait list, but Brewhammer, due to work circumstances, I had to pull out. Kind of bummed. Thankfully, my friend Brad was able to swing in and take my ticket, so it all worked out just fine. He's excited. He's very much on a Sigmar high, so he's going to enjoy the hell out of it.
Nice.
That said, at the same time I had to pull out, friend Ben from the Pittsburgh scene mentioned about Warpstone Wars GT that's going to be in April at Fabricators Forge. He's like, hey, can you come to this? I was like, here's my money, just take it because I need to go to a Sigmar event.
Yeah.
So no, there's nothing but positivity for Warhammer going on.
Awesome.
But okay, so anyway, as we wrap up here, next week there'll be another show as usual. Neil and I will discuss the topic because we had one in mind for this week, but the FAQ kind of screwed it up. We could also talk Arcane Journal. We'll figure out what we want to talk about here. No promises. The week after, so the last week of January, I'll be traveling for work. So probably no podcast that week. But other than that, expect things as usual. Welcome to all the new subscribers. If you're still here, make sure you like and subscribe. Like 3 hours in, not the time to say that, but here we are.
Yes. Yeah. If you're still listening, and that means you're invested in this. By God, hit the like and subscribe.
Please share it with a friend. I implore you. But we will see you next week for that. And then if there's any high elf news popping out, trust me, I will squeeze out a video immediately. But until then, Neil, anything to say before we go?
No. Just excited for what's coming here. So I'm excited for more high elves.
Sounds good. All right, everybody, stay Stormcast strong and happy hobbying.